the time has come for the lion to tell his own story. You are the one them called Celestial represent for the mighty lion voice. And this a shook up your planet tectonic. As me sip up my roots and tectonic. And you can't make me jump nor get panic. Have the engine a run like mechanic. Room.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use a yet an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it. I Jollifer said that.
This is Sanky Davis. It's time for the lion to Ika. For unity is strength. Let us come together, my brethren and sisters, and forward to the motherland. Enough love. This is the lion's voice.
Haile.
Jah
Rastafari.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
This is culture sound, a Rastaman sound, positive sound.
Culture sound system with DJ Culture Fire TG.
But now you're in tune to the culture sound, Rasta sound.
Culture sound, because I'm DJ Culture Fire TG.
I help coming from the true living eyes, Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, who created Zion and earth. He shall not suffer and I foot to be moved. I hold, he that keepeth Ethiopia shall neither slumber nor sleep. Well, youths in the streets right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. One bad police right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. No justice, no peace right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The fire now cease right now, riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down. The youths them rise against brutality, man a kill another man for your salary. Them train them at the shooting gallery, black and loot, you might lose all your family. Them defend white supremacy, so them see the African as them enemy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say culture sound
like this for centuries, them sick mentally. That's why we have the out in the streets right now. Riots in your town now, Babylon them burning down.
The year is 1892, and the land of Ethiopia has been experiencing 4 years of terrible famine and drought. They call it the Kikuken, or the evil days. At least 1/3 of the human population and 90% of the cattle have died. The hyenas have feasted on so many carcasses that they have become overweight and barely able to move. Just when the people could take no more of the evil days, a woman named Wasiro Yeshimabe is giving birth in a place called Erjersa Gora. This is her 9th attempt to bring forth new life. Her previous 8 attempts only resulted in death. Will this child live? Thankfully, a healthy baby boy is born. His first cries are drowned by thunder and lightning flashes across the night sky. The heavens open up and torrential rain starts to fall. Ethiopia's drought is over, and the baby boy is given the name Tafari. meaning one to be feared or respected. Lidj Tafari's father, Ras is a very important man in 1892 Ethiopia. Although he is overjoyed at the birth of his newborn son, he cannot spend much time with him. Ras is the governor of Harar and must get back to the famous walled city to deal with its affairs. Furthermore, he is the foreign minister of Ethiopia, and having traveled to different places in Europe, he is very aware of the material and military advances they have made and the looming threats they pose to his country. Ras knows that the majority of Ethiopians have no idea what is coming, and that he has to work that much harder to secure the realm. Lidj Tafari would grow up to become the legendary emperor, Haile Selassie I. To understand his journey, we must first understand the Ethiopia that he was inheriting, and what it was like when he was born in 1892. Get your copy of Kwesi Bansu's book, Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1, The Rise of the Priestly Warrior Kings, and increase your knowledge about the history, politics, and culture of Ethiopia in 1892, and how it connects to the rest of African and world history at the time. Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1 is available for purchase at www.bookmanexpress.pub. Please visit for more information.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwesi Bansu, aka the Chazmach Kwesi, aka Ras Kwesi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney. I'm an author. I'm an artist. I'm an actionist. And right now, I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network, and welcome to Lion Talk Live, where the lions are telling our own story. Tonight, we have a very special episode. This episode is a tribute to one of I&I greatest teachers, a professor from the University of Adversity. You cannot talk about the Chazmach Kwesi, Ras Kwesi, and you don't talk about this elder. This is, one of the elders that I was privileged to sit at his feet, to learn the teachings, who shaped who I was to become as a Ras, as a young Ras, exemplifying the high diplomacy required for these perilous times. And as we speak, World War III is in full swing. This is the early part of the war. We have escalation of violence in Syria, as an extension of what's happening in Lebanon, Ukraine, of course, the African continent. But why we say it's a world war is that we find out that all of these wars are attached. The great powers fighting proxy wars. And when we look at the escalation that's happening currently, family, I have to be in a state of preparedness, because we see that they care not for the civilian, for the innocent. So we cannot depend on these ones, And as we tribute to this great elder tonight, I have a powerful panel. I cannot wait for the item to meet the panel. as we tribute to the elder tonight, this elder was one of the elders that, when you talk about Africa, we have an anniversary development of Rastafari study group, IDOR study group. And one of the reasons that it has an Africa Affairs segment is because this elder demanded that be added to the study group. He always, no matter that he was a man that was very biblical, when I first heard about the fall of the European Union, that we see the early stages happening right now, this elder pointed out to the book of Daniel and showed why these things were going to happen, and the timing and the times that we were in, prophetic elder. He was an archive, a walking encyclopedia, a Pan-African, as I say, when I met this elder, I was at Howard as a student, so I was being taught by many brilliant professors, but he was by far the most brilliant. So, it is with that thought that we're going to bring this tribute tonight. So get your ITAL snacks, prepare yourself. But before we go there, I just lost one of my uncles, one of my key uncle, Uncle Scotty in Jamaica, passed away first day. So I just want to acknowledge, for the history that I lost a great family member. We share the same earth strong. So one of the rituals on my earth strong was always call my Uncle Scotty, heal him up, and we hold that joy. His son, Ras Emil, some of the items may know as well. Dr. Chad Hines, some of the items may know as well. My cousins, them where I grow with, have lost their father. So we just want to send condolences to the entire family. And we know that this is the season, we're giving tribute to an elder that has passed away. I lost one of my great uncles. This is a season where we're losing our elders. So I'm really imploring all of the Lion Pride, hug up our Asians who are living right now. Let us take that time because there's a passing of the torch ironically as we move into the age of Aquarius, into this Armageddon, Iowa. We're losing a generation of wise and ancient ones, So I just recommend to the family, you have Nana, Granny, Grandpa, Papa, whoever you call him, just call him tomorrow morning as morning touch and let them know you love them and give them some energy because it's that time. All right, so right now I have to big up the Lion Pride before we bring forward the panel. We are 15,100 plus. Some of the items were here when we were under 100 in the Lion Pride. We are the fastest growing Rastafari platform on the internet through the powers of the Almighty himself. The word is getting out there across all continents. We just get a comment from Ethiopia this morning, say Ethiopia, tune in and plug in. It's a joy, and we are worthy as Rastafari to have a world-class platform that is dealing with things how we would deal with it. Rastafari, non-apologetic Pan-African platform dealing with Pan-African issues. So I have to big up the 15,000 plus, who have subscribed to the platform. And I want to take the time to big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. Family, we have to have an economic engine. Let we have a little reasoning because we have set a goal of 100 fire angels in the Patreon. Right now we have 26. It's looking sticky, to reach that by January morning. But I know because I see the numbers, we have at least 300 core Lion Pride who out there. So for the cost of a cup of coffee a month, 2 cup of coffee, support Rastafari independent non-aligned media. We'd like to accelerate the development. We want to have correspondence in the different regions on the continent to send in the footage so we can edit together proper newsreel to keep the ones informed of what's happening with the global family as we rise in this Armageddon. We're worth it. So let us invest in ourselves. And
economic crisis is coming. I know it's hard. It's a struggle. So for the ones who have given, I do give thanks. For those who want to give, because ones reach out and say as soon as they can, they will. You know what I mean? So I over all of that. I want to give thanks. I'm very thankful. I don't take for granted one penny that ones invest. But there is work that we have to do. We have to build our own reality, our own alternative to what Babylon. And the media is essential to that. You know what I mean? Marcus Garvey started with media. You know what I mean? The Negro world. We need that in this time. It's digital. So Mecca and I support. Become part of the Lion Pride on Patreon. You know what I mean? How much do you value your story? This is what I'm asking the family. And we're going to talk about the tribute event for this great elder. And one of the things that I was moved was so many of my local Rastafari family came up to I and were thanking I for the Lion voice and how they're tapped in. You know what I mean? So I want to give thanks. I know some people can't afford to support that way. That's why we have the Ubuntu Lion Pride. You can give a one-time contribution, $50 and up. You become a part of the Ubuntu Lion Pride. You don't have a penny in your pocket. You can still be part of the Action Lion Pride. Like, comment, share, do your part, you know what I mean, to push it out there so everyone can play a role. I'm just a representative, you know. The Lion Pride is who run this platform. I want the item know. I'm just the representative providing the leadership. So don't just look upon I, because at some point I want to hire some young people to sit where I'm sitting to reason with the people. So, you know, the vision is vast, and we give thanks, as I say, to the family for supporting it. You know what I mean? Big up Ramia King Design. We have Ras Lidj on our panel today. You always hear me talk about Ras Lidj. We did a lion talk. You're going to see him forward today because, as I say, you can't come on this platform one time and not deal with them something there. Big up Ras Wolde and Seamas Life, the greatest Seamas drink I ever taste. I will defend it, you know. I want a man tell me, say, Seamas Life are not the best. At that time, me and him have problem. You know what I mean? Because Ras Wolde have it. And I tell the item straight. Big up Seamas Life. And again, all of the businesses, everyone who supports us doing this platform every Wednesday night, we look forward for the gathering. Put your comments, your questions in the chat. You know how we do it here at the Lion Pride. This is a family setting. We take time and we bubble the plot nice and easy. We spice it up. You know what I mean? We put in with coconut milk and all them things there. We make sure, say, the reasoning simmer nicely. It's not no rush. We are not Russian. We are Ethiopian. All right. So, without further ado, housekeeping out of the way, we are going to bring forward. This is one of the mighty panels. I tell people my superpower is my network. And when you see the caliber of this panel tonight, you know, say, the rest of the things in our life, may I tell you, they make nice. So, give us a warm lion voice welcome for the panel. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. And each of them have a special relationship with Ras I-Rice. And each of them, you know, are going to give their testimony about the elder. We're going to glorify in the works of the elder tonight. And then we're going to also do a recap of the powerful, powerful event that happened here in Washington, D.C. It really brought forward that first time love. This elder energy brought together the community in a way I've not seen in some time. From baby up to elders were represented. It was just, man, it was so much love. Reggae music, Naya Bingi, Ital Sip, testimony, multimedia presentation, the whole works. It was really powerful. So, producer, let us bring forward our panel for the evening so that they can introduce themselves. Yes, royal blessings. What a panel. I tell you. All right, so I'm going to ask the item to introduce the item self. What, you know, because each one of these panelists are very esteemed, very accomplished. This is your time. let people know how they can get in contact with the I. We'll do it again at the end, but now is the time, because as I said, I'm just a representative. I represent a wider community. These are all I-Man family members tonight. All right, Brother John, introduce thyself.
Give thanks to the Isis. I love it for those words, and I give thanks for the opportunity to share with such a esteemed panel, I-Man is Brother John, called I Brother John. I am the current president of Universal Development of Rastafari, and I feel very pleased to be seated up in the seat that Ras I-Rice once held to. Give thanks.
Give thanks. Dr. Fay, I can introduce thyself.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to this platform. I feel honored to be a part of this esteemed group. So I am Faye Anderson, government name, but my AK name is Queen Phasia. Yes, so I'm here representing the community, and I'll tell you a little bit more as I talk about Ras I-Rice, how I get connected to this community, and I'm honored to be a part of this. Thank you.
Mighty Ras Wolde.
Greetings, one and all. Greetings to the Lion Pride family, and it is an honor to be a part of this esteemed panel also. Everyone here is someone that I look up to. I might look like I am the same age, but I'm a little bit younger. It's just the platinum catch up, but it's all right. Yeah, but I am Ras Wolde Philpotts, son of brother Carl Philpotts and sister Valerie Philpotts. I am, a Rasta youth from birth, trod in and been in the DC, Maryland area for over 30 years. Been at the foot of Ras I-Rice for more than 20 years, and also working closely with everyone on this panel. Rasa Kwazi and I are brothers, business partners, and everyone here, Rasta man and Rasta woman, on the trod for Rastafari. So again, I am honored to be a part of this panel. Give thanks.
And Dr. Wolete, this is part of our Lion Pride and Patreon, one of our greatest supporters. I have to big up Mama Wolete so much and thank the I publicly every chance I get. Is a ray of light, my royal co-host for the evening as well. So mighty. Please introduce thyself, Dr. Mama Wolete.
Yes. Greetings and blessings. Am I there twice? It seems like there's an echo.
Let me see here. Okay, try again. Try now.
All right. Greetings and blessings. Yes, how excellent is thy name, merciful Kadamawi, Haile Selassie I, and Empress Menen Asfa. Give thanks and Isis for the gathering, for the moments. Joyful to be in the space to reason upon Congo Ras I-Rice. I am currently the chairperson of the Universal Development of Rastafari, also the owner of Yeshimabet Books and Things in Baltimore, and a member of this mighty immunity. So I look forward to reasoning up and give thanks for bringing I forward to reason about the event. It was indeed a mighty event, Rastafari.
Give thanks and Mama Wolete, one of the primary people who planned and really orchestrated. So we really get into some of that as well. Queen Iffiya, Lion Talk alumnus, Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I perfect love. Give thanks and Isis for this hour. Give thanks and Isis for another hour to get things better than I did. The hours pass. Yes, I in Iffiya, Empress Iffiya, member of the Rastafari community, born and bred. Now, the president of the North Carolina Rastafari Union, member of the Nyabingi Order, where I was born and bred in. A member of the Ethiopian World Federation now, official member, and also the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo tradition. Yes, it's always an honor. As I said before, I wouldn't change anything. I would enhance as I experience each of every one of INIs. And the journey has been awesome. I give thanks to be here and give thanks to share I experience with INI's ancient Congo I-Rice. Yes, I perfect is the Lord.
Give thanks. Ras Lidj, big up yourself as well. One of the businesses, entrepreneur that have supported the platform from early. Ras Lidj saw the vision and call I didn't call him, He called and said, I want support there. This thing is gonna be big. I want to help support it. And this brethren inspire I, because when I came to the big girls, this was one of the brethren who was there with Ras I-Rice, Brother Jack. So we're going to find out about them early days in DC from Ras Lidj. But Ras Lidj, please introduce yourself. They are muted.
Okay, hold on. All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I.
Blessed love and greetings, one and all. Lion Pride, 15,000 and 15 million more. We give thanks, Lion Pride. I am Ras Lidj, all to the east, reggae music. I'm known for creating a style here in Washington, D.C. of unifying roots rock, reggae, dancehall music with Washington, D.C.'s own go-go music. I'm a member, a lifetime member, Washington, D.C., Rastafari community. As Ras Kwasi said, Lion Pride patron and supporter. And I give thanks to be here on the panel and definitely to discuss Ras I-Rice, life journey. Give thanks and blessed love, one and all.
I'm going to stay with Ras Lidj, because as I said, as a young Ras, I think I was maybe in my 20s, when I started to trot to the Bing Girls. I went to the Bing Girls on 10th Street. I saw the eye was there. How did the eye meet Ras I-Rice? And for those who don't know, Ras Lidj is born and raised here in Washington, D.C. in the ghetto, Southeast. Went through the crack era. If you don't know Ras Lidj story, you have to listen to it on Lion Voice. It's here on the network. But this brethren was here living a certain life, and then Ras I-Rice and the elders come. Give us that history in terms of how they met Ras I-Rice.
So interestingly enough, there's two parts. So the first time I saw Ras I-Rice, Ras Pidao, Bongo Jack, and Sydney, you could not be in Washington, D.C. and not see those four Idrin riding together. And I was a young man and attending UDC, University of the District of Columbia. Okay. And there was a speech with Dr. Ivan Van Sertimer, Joseph Bin, and another historian at that time at UDC. And I worked in the auditorium. So, as Kwasi just stated, I'm from Southeast, and being young at that time, green, I see these elders walking with these big hats, and I'm like, whoa, who are these guys? So a little further down, I was playing go-go music, and as I met some brethren who played reggae music, the Soul Defenders posse, we had a studio at 5th and M. And of course, when you come into reggae music, things just kind of change your life once Rastafari is there and you see it, and the change becomes over you and take place. So while we're there at 5th and M, the studio, that was our band, Soul Defender Party studio. Enough of us lived upstairs, and we rehearsed downstairs. The saxophone player, Trent, bring the same crew of elders that I just mentioned, Ras I-Rice, Bongo Jack, Pidal, and Sydney. They pull up in the van to the studio one day, come in, Trent bring them in for reasoning. Trent gives up his room to Ras Pidal, so Ras Pidal can live there. That kept the Rastafari elders right at the studio upstairs, liberty every day. So me now at that time, I didn't have a dread or sprung on my head. As a matter of fact, I was working in the government, and I would leave my government job at Securities and Exchange Commission and run up the street every day at lunchtime just for reasoning, get back to work late. When I leave the job, before I even go home, I'm back to the studio all night. I wouldn't even go home sometime. So from that time, Pidal is reasoning, and Pidal is a Bible man. So I'm getting full Bible, and much needed for me because I was very, very misguided at that time. I needed strong direction. So when his word sound come to me, I never wanted to move. I was locked in because that was the safest place for me to be at that time. When you have Ras Pidal there, you have Ras I-Rice. Now, Ras I-Rice, as everyone on this panel will tell you, is the walking history book. News, everything. I've always been into history and news and things like that from I was young. Ras I-Rice give you history from Wall to when he ran airstrips in herb fields and things like that in Jamaica. You know what I mean? And I'm interested in these stories, and as these elders are telling me this, you know, I'm just keyed in and sitting. This was classroom, as Ras I-Rice would say, the University of Adversity, because this lesson you will not get in any history class or anything anywhere. So this was my early inception of being amongst the elders. And I'm telling you, I lived in that studio night and day at the foot of the Rastafari elders. And for me, personally, I'll give you a very funny story. When I started with the Soul Defender Posse, I used to listen to like a lot of, you know, Shaba and dancehall DJs like that, right? And, you know, the band tried to give me a name. So I was from DC, the guys was in the studio and they jokingly called me Yankee Boy DJ. So Ross Pidal hear that and he said, who a Yankee? He said, that man is more Rasta than any of you in here. And he and Ras I-Rice together like same time. They said, Ras Lidj. You want to call him boy? Lidj is a name for boy. Lidj means prince. His name is Lidj. From that, don't never let him call you Yankee. Your name is Lidj now. And you know how it go when Yardie give you a name. It's stuck from there. It's stuck from right there. So there I get the name Ras Lidj. And like I said, I was blessed to be at the feet of these gentlemen day and night, reasoning. The reasoning go around. That time, Ross Addy was here in DC, 7-star. David Dre, Tropicana, everybody. They know about these times too. And when the man come into the studio, you can't get up and come home because it's the next bag of Haitians come in. And the chalice starts bubbling once again. And it's Bible and Psalms. And I'm like, whoa, these guys read the Bible and do this, man. Whoa, this is, you know what I'm saying? So this became my life full time. And, you know, for me, it was a fight because being in DC, I went through the whole like, hey, man, who them dudes you around, man? You know, what you doing around them Jamaican cats, man? And them Jamaican, man, you trying to be. But what they couldn't understand was this, from that day until this day, Rastafari became a living way of life for me, and I still live true to it. And you know, Ras I-Rice, because I grew without my father, his guidance and everything, Ras I-Rice was really like an earthly father to me. When his son Marty came here, Marty and I hung out and did DJ and music together and everything like that. So yeah, you know, Man, it's something because will we ever have this kind of occasion again for young men, you know, out in the world? And I hope that's something that we in the Rastafari community will be able to hold this strength from Ras I-Rice and remember while we here in our Rastafari communities from North Carolina to DC or wherever we are in the world, look for young men such as myself who baby misguided, need guidance and this and that. And Rastafari, I am a living testimony that Rastafari word, sound, and power is true. It can give you life. Wolde is a little brother to me because I don't have the silver that he has, you know.
I don't know where it come from. It just came.
It's wisdom. It's wisdom. You know what I mean? You can't live amongst brother called Philpotts and don't have that kind of wisdom. So, but in age-wise, both Kwasi and Wolde are little brothers to me. My years and age are much beyond theirs. I remember Kwasi when he come to Howard University as a freshman. You know what I mean? Before he first come in Bingy House. So yes, it is very important, and I would like to stress to everyone, remember the thing that Ras I-Rice give to us, this knowledge and this teaching. Many of us now, as we're reaching our elder years, we haven't. And there are more youth man out there like I was a youth man who need this strength and need this strong. And we know Rastafari has life. So let us continue to give the strength and the strong as Ras I-Rice gave to us. Give it unto the world and more young brethren and sistren coming up, please.
Give thanks, give thanks. I'm going to Queen Fay. She informed me she has to leave early, so I want to give a chance, Queen Fay, to really block up. How did I know Ras I-Rice? What was your experience, you know, with this community?
Yeah, give thanks, give thanks. So my journey with Ras I-Rice did not start with him. So I came to United States. I'm from Jamaica.
Where in Jamaica? Where in Jamaica? Because Jamaica.
I was born in a small community called Mason River, Clarendon, but I grew up in Belfield, Manchester.
Okay.
And that's where I went to school and such like. So you see the connection between Queen Iffiya and I, because I worked with the government in Jamaica for like 13 years doing community development. So I was like all across Jamaica doing social intervention work with communities. And that's how I met Queen Iffiya.
Okay.
Doing community work and starting the first youth club community organization in Augustown.
Okay.
So that was my connection. However, when I came to United States and a work study program in 2007, I was coming from New York one night. My only person that I knew in United States at that time was a friend that lived in New York. So I was at the train station and I got stranded. So I met this man, a Rasta man. His name is Lion Royal Mackenzie. You all probably know him.
Yes, yes.
And he stood with me the whole night and helped me to get on. The time I didn't drive or anything, to get a taxi to get home. It was like 1 a.m. in the morning. So I maintained contact with Lion.
Yes.
So he invited me to his house, and I met his queen at the time. And then he took me over to Ras I-Rice's house.
Yes.
And that very first night, we had a deep connection because we just started having conversation. And he said, "What? You sound so intelligent." He said, "Well, that's what I like to see." And he started asking me questions about my background and things, and just start talking. And what I found, like everybody else was there doing their thing. Ras I-Rice and I were into some long, deep conversations. Some of the things I don't even remember. But what I do remember, though, that he inspired me so much, because one thing he said to me, and he said, "You're smart. You need to go to school. No matter what none of them talk about, you need to get knowledge. Knowledge is important." And so during my years, because right now I am just, next week I'll be defending my dissertation to be a doctor.
Yeah, man. We have to support Lion Talk. We support education around
exactly.
here.
Yes. And
all right.
And so I'm doing my PhD in international psychology and global mental health. And so, and for so many reasons, because I want to do a great work in the community and to help my brothers and sisters. And I was talking to reasoning with brother Quasi, and I was telling him about mental health and how important that is. But I will go back to
We're going to interview the eye on the platform because a
Yes.
lot of us have mental health issue in the
Yes, yes.
Rastafari community.
Yeah.
It's a big issue
Right.
in our community. So we'll have a special episode on that.
Thank you. I welcome that. So back to Ras I-Rice. So after connecting with him, and I've gone to his house so many times and start eat, talk. It's always as a virgin says, it's almost like he bring you that energy, you're excited, you want to talk to him because he, to me, I was like, how this man have so much knowledge and he never been to any university. This is wild. I couldn't understand that, but then he makes me want to talk to him, to reason with him, because the knowledge, we all know that academic achievement is just something on paper, but the real knowledge come from life. And that is one of the things that Ras I-Rice embedded into my thoughts. So Ras I-Rice mystically did something for me, which I don't think he knew at this point, that I because I don't remember telling him the story. So every event that happens, Ras Kwame in the early years could see me coming to different events. Ras I-Rice always send me an email. Anything that's happening, he will send me an email and call me and say, yo, you need to come through. And so I have to be obedient to him most of the times and enter and participate in the event. But I learned so much through this journey. So what he did for me, well, before I got to where he did for me, we went to a trip in North Carolina. It was 2008. It was the Ralak Fest, the first Ralak Fest, I think. So I have my cup right here. And at that time, no, it was 2009. 2009, because I ended the program in 2008 and I came back to United States since then. So I didn't have any money. I wanted to go on the trip to North Carolina. I didn't have any money, and it was like people have to pay. Ras I-Rice was like, listen, me pay for her double time. So we'll make sure that she go on the trip to North Carolina. And that's how I actually got to the trip in North Carolina. He was so gracious the whole time, taking care of me as his little daughter. And yes. And so, and also they always look out for me too. So I really salute both of them. And so one day I got an email from Ras I-Rice inviting to an event. Underneath the event, under under the email, I saw a picture. You know, sometimes you look at email, some things pop up, and it said Stonebrook Estate. So I said, how he sent me the email and Stonebrook Estate in Trelawney? So do you know that I took that same picture and I sent it to my sister in Jamaica and said, I need one of these houses. And I end up bought one of those houses just by the connection that he sent to me. To me, that was mystical journey.
Yes.
Okay,
you know,
congratulations.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I eventually met Brother Roy. So Brother Roy, Lion, Ras I-Rice and Danita has been my family that I go to for about like before I got married a couple years ago, almost 10 years ago. Before then, with at least 10 years straight, that's where I eat my dinner at their house. And it's always a joyful time to be in their presence. I always feel honored and I learned so much. And you know, I've been disconnected from the community for a couple of years. You know, you got to do what you got to do. But the foundation that I received through that my interaction with Ras I-Rice never leaves me. And I'm so honored to be a part of this process where I could really talk about that human being. Because what is so important in life is the connection that you make with people. And it doesn't matter who you are, what level you are, the most important is that human connection and the impact that the person has on your life. And Ras I-Rice, even not in a many ways, but in a small but magnificent way, has contributed to my life in so many ways. And I really honored that I was blessed that morning to meet Lion. So I was able to meet Ras I-Rice. And so that's part of my life history. I will always be. But as I been so intimate with both person, Danita and Ras I-Rice, I was sharing with my sister Iffiya that, you know, sometimes when we go through separations, whether in life or in transition, it does have a lot to do with how we our stress level and how we think, and you know how we navigate life. And so I would like to know, and I promise Queen Iffiya that I am going to connect with Sister Danita on a regular, because at this point, this is time that she needs to
Yes.
have
Yes.
someone in her world to help her go through, because grieving is something that is a process. And sometimes, even as culturally, when I speak culturally, I talk about Jamaica, we don't pay too much attention to our mental stability. We do everything else. We go to the doctor and do everything, but we don't focus on that mental space and see how people are doing, because that's where everything starts, right here in the mind. And so even though someone may look outside as to be strong, and we see this, you know, we have, but we need to have be able to connect with each other on a mental level to see what's going on, how we feel, because that's where it actually started. And so I want to use this opportunity to say that we should continue part of Ras I-Rice's legacy is to put our arms around his queen, and knowing that he has a community still, even though she's disconnected from her soulmate. But we are still here to support her in all the ways that we can. And I am committed to do so. I'm going to have my weekly check-ins on her, and how I can provide that kind of moral, therapeutic support. I will do all I can to support her through this journey. And I know that would be something that Ras I-Rice will be joyful about. And so, yes, that's my connection to the community, to Ras I-Rice, and I give thanks for this platform.
Well, you have IDOR president here, IDOR chair, IDOR board member here. We're not going to let the eye go anywhere. We don't identify the eye.
Yes.
So, you know, some roping are going to happen.
Yes.
Before I bring forward the next guest, let me just hail up some of the Lion Pride checking in. William Trash, who was at the event. Hail him, Emperor Haile Selassie I Jah, Rastafari, glory and honor to his chosen queen, Empress was Zero Menen Asfa. Big up yourself. Ras Greg, the grap lover. Him said, bless up the Chaz match. Always appreciate loving the Lion's voice. Love to Idor Lion Voice family. Bless Ras I-Rice. Big up yourself. Ras Greg was also in the building. Kino Swabi. Big up yourself, Kino. William Thrash, through the power of the Most High Jah Rastafari, keep up the great work. The Chaz match. I want the item come and join us in the Patreon, you know. We love the word sound, but come join the economic engine, make we make this thing do what it need to do. Honorable ones, in I presence, knowledge coming forward. Yes, DJ Ras Iman, Atlanta family checking in. Heart of love, all I Rastafari, Ijan and sister in one perfect love. Big up yourself, DJ Ras Iman. Put your comments, Lion Pride, where you're watching from. Put it in the comments. We like to know where people are tuning in from, so that we can keep the energy flowing. This is a community reasoning. Brother John, I'm going to the I, Mama Wolete, the I next, and then Ras Wolde. Brother John, the I experience with Ras I-Rice.
Give Yangsel Isaac to the opportunity once again. I love it. You know, I'm on journey with Ras I-Rice is a little different from most of the eyes them still. You know, I met Ras I-Rice for the first time at the Bingy house. I didn't spend much time there still, but you know, when I was buying my second home in DC, in Washington area, I ran into Ras Sydney, who was a plumber. You know, and he came forward to give an estimate at our gates, and he brought Ras I-Rice with him, you know. And I just gave him the key to the house immediately. I just said, yo, Bridget, you're in charge, because I was running Iman business at the same time, so I couldn't be at the gates observing everything that was being done. You know, and I said, yes, and he's the first person and the only person to give I the title Ras. And he said to I, Ras Johnny that day, he said, Ras Johnny, I got you. Just go about your business. I will take care of everything here. You know, and you know, we created a bond ever since. You know, been to his gates on many occasions. Been like a uncle or a father to Ayman. I introduced my mother to him on several occasions. They went to the Bingies together, you know. So Ras I-Rice has been very integral in Ayman growing forward in the movement of Rastafari. As I came to the United States as a Rasta, you would see me still from 19 years old. But Ras I-Rice was very instrumental in guiding I and I through some of those pitfalls and things like that. As a man who's a Nyabingi man, but still non-aligned, because he loved each and every one. And to be honest with you, when I look forward in the brethren's life, I came up with two things to sum up his life and his liberty. And it's taken from Psalm 32:2. It says, blessed is the man unto whom Haile Selassie I imputed not out equity, and whose iris there is no guile. You know, so in Ras I-Rice, I didn't see any guile in him, you know. You know, as a brethren was full of love and joy and full of wise mind, you know. And many a times I would go sit up with him at the gates and say, Ras Johnny, why, Ras Johnny, who's Sister P, who's the youth man them, who's your brethrens them, you know, you remember all of I and I family members, and he called them by name. And so just send my blessing and my love towards the family, you know. So I became a son to Ras I-Rice. You know, I might not have been there many times as Ras Wolde and others sit up with him, but I have my private moments where I sit up with the elder many hours, you know, days upon days, you know, family looking for me, but I'm at with the elder and just, you know, just holding the vibes. You know, Sister Danita as well. You know, and the second psalm that I give tribute to Ras I-Rice is Psalm 1 verse 1. As the current president, this is why I choose this one. It's so particular for this brethren. You know, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the seat of in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. You know, and Ras I-Rice wasn't a scornful person; he was a very respectful brethren. So, you know, I give credence and honor to seat up in such a seat. And, you know, it's a big shoe that Ayman have to fill, but Ayman accept that role and challenge accepted. I give thanks for the opportunity for Black a son on my beloved father and brother and uncle. Rastafari bless and keep.
Give thanks, Brother John. Mama Wolete.
Yes. Greetings again. Blessings. So I came to know Ras I-Rice through the IDOR study group. Sojourning in the Rastafari immunities of Halsey Street, Brooklyn, Nyabingi, Harlem, Nyabingi, Ethiopian Orthodoxy, Holy Trinity, Ethiopian World Federation, 34 years, local number 1. And I moved to this, Miami, I can't leave out, Miami, Florida, 75th Street, Nyabingi, Haile Selassie First Learning Center. Tried in Rastafari, just moving through the earth, and I came to this area for work in DC and was searching Rastafari in this region, trying to connect with my family, and I found the IDOR study group at Sankofa on Georgia Avenue. And that is where I encountered Pa Jack, Ras I-Rice, Dijazmach Kwasi, Ras Wayne, everyone, my entire Brother Wolde, my entire Rastafari family that I have now. And right away, you know, I was really impressed with Ras I-Rice's scholarship. It was his scholarship. And he, he spanned both ends of he ran the full gamut. He can talk about his days in the crocus bag, living below the boat on the beach. He talk about Warwick Hill. But then he can also talk about his employment in at the hotel, and just his ability to navigate and to transform time and space. He was really able to roll with the punches. He was very non-judgmental and so humble and brilliant, just brilliant. What fascinated I about Ras I-Rice was his memory. One, I have one of those memories. So I met my balance with that memory. Ras I-Rice's memory and his ability to I call names and to I call places and experiences with such great detail. And he always wants to, he wasn't boastful, but he always made it very clear that he was not to be taken lightly and not to be slighted. He commanded a certain amount of respect, in a very humble way, much like that of Kadamawi. He would always make sure that I were aware that he was in the know. The most recent experience was when he was on a study group or somewhere, I maybe at his house, and Bingy Carlton had come from Ghana. And, Bingy Carlton was kind of trying to just relay what had taken place, because I always had to update Ras I-Rice on what was taking place globally. And right away, he wanted to begin naming places in Ghana. So he said to Bingy Carlton, I know you said you went to Accra. He said, did you go to Carlton, Bingy Carlton? He said, tell me something. You did reach Kumasi when you were in Ghana, as though he's been to Kumasi, as though he's going to recall some place that he visited. But this is how Ras I-Rice, this is, he loved learning. I was so proud of Ras I-Rice. I'm still very proud of Ras I-Rice, and even more proud now that I've read that 9-page bio. That 9-page bio that Brother Jakes compiled. The whole angelic house vibration, a whole Rasta camp in his youthful days. That amazing leadership, that wise mind, yeah, that's a generation gone. I really give thanks that I were able to share that experience, born on Mescal Day, the finding of the True Cross Day. And that's my sister's Earthlight. So I'm always September 27th, 1938. That's Ras I-Rice's Earthlight. He says, yes, I'm a 38 special. I'm a 38 model. 1938, and I'm always doing the math. And I'm like, yeah, 86 this year, and him and Nana Faraika months apart. Nana Faraika is the big sister. I just, just so impressed with an ancient, I've come through many ancients, young ancients, Ras Ivai, young ancient, Ras Aibo, all the ones, Bingi Irie, all of the ancients, Mama Fire, Papa Sala. Yeah, enough ancients. And I sit up with, on this journey. But to meet Ras I-Rice, Yeah, it was really, really yeah, I'm still not even there yet, but I'm gonna get there, overstanding that he has, gone into the ancestral realm and I could still tap into him. But
Yes.
indeed, Washington, D.C., this area was truly, truly blessed to seat up, with a Ras I-Rice and a Pa Jack and a Nana Farika and Mama Bubbles and Baba Aduno
Ras
and
Marcus.
Baba Ras Marcus and all
Pida.
of these Ras
Ras Pida.
Pido,
Yes.
all of these ones that I, they have Ras I-Rice has definitely passed the torch. He has definitely passed the torch. He loved all things Rastafari, but he loved all things Africa, all things Africa. And I remember how joyful it was when Fredlocks did the dub plate for Idor with the 7 miles of Black Star Liner. And where he says, where they said, uh, 7 miles of Black Star Liners coming in. Yeah, and when he says, I can see them coming, I can see Ras I-Rice running. Yeah, I can hear the ancients say, yeah, Ras I-Rice, we're going home. Yes, there's a dub plate. Idor has a dub plate from the great Stafford Elliott. Yes, that he did. And Ras I-Rice's name is in there several times, So, yeah, man, joyful moments with I and I ancient. And I give thanks that I and I were able to indeed sit at his feet and, learn from his journey and his example. And he's left I and I a mighty legacy. We give thanks for Ras I-Rice.
Give
Give thanks.
thanks, give thanks. I'm gonna cut to the eye, Ras Wolde, in a moment. Yes, Adrian, big up yourself. Ras
Yeah.
Sensi, Hail Natty Congo Bongo, I Sila Ras Sensi was
Yeah.
here. Please touch the like button. You heard Ross Greg, hey, Lion Pride there, So there them for know that. Ras Maisha, Ras I-Rice with his great stories of Warwick Hill. Brethren was at
Yeah.
the Big Girls, one of our family used to trot in from Pittsburgh them time there. Yes,
Yeah.
Dirty Bookman in the place. Pick up yourself, Dirty Bookman. Ras I-Rice had a magnetism about him. He was a kind of person that was destined to be a living rallying point to gather diverse ones together to experience the joy of community through Rastafari. Yes, Bookman, very well said. See it there, Ras shall agree with the eye. Love him forever. Yes. Big up yourself, Ras Bookman. Melko, big up Melko. Ras Melko was there. All praises to him, Kadamawi, Haile Selassie, one perfect love family. And I give thanks for the wise mind and inspiration of the Honorable Aishans, Ras I-Rice. Give thanks, keep the tributes coming in, family. Ras Wolde, we're coming today. I am saving my big sister for last because we want to hear from the Jamaica and your father journey with Ras. We want to hear the whole story. Ras Wolde, give us the journey.
Boy, where to begin? Well, all right. I followed to the Washington D.C. era in 1989. At that time, my father and my uncle had a paint store, and in the back of it was a t-shirt shop over by Queen's Chapel, Maryland. Right, and I used to go there printing t-shirt after school, learning the trade, and then boom, we ended up getting another warehouse. That warehouse now started to become a central hub for Rastafari wants to come and gather and meet up and so forth. So between coming to the United States and couple of years, I was a younger buck. So I was out there dealing with like a dancehall promotion and everything. So I'm not too focused, cause Rasta was in ice. So it's not like I was there searching for it, So me just experience other things. But anyway, after a while, you start to focus now because you are becoming a man now and thing. So as I said, 20 years with Ras I-Rice. So a couple years passed, ended up meeting um Ras Pedo, Pajak, and Ras I-Rice, and also Ras Sydney at this said t-shirt shop, Top Shelf, and
Top Shelf.
coming on. We're reasoning all the time, and for I tell my father, who is a great man, that yes, you are raised me right, but within Rastafari, within this village, I have whole heap of eye sample where is whole heap of elder would have take me and them reason and me sit down at them foot and listen, because I like that vibe, because it really appealed to I and I spirit. So Ras Pedo and I was born the same month, the same tribe, Joseph, and Ras Pedo full of lyrics, and gimmicks, and Ras I-Rice now was a little gimmicks man too. So having the two of them, sharing and thing, it was a joy. And Pajak was totally different. He barely even talk more time. Serious, and having pipe, and Ras Sydney and Baba Marcus, all of them were real unique amples, but together a powerful force. So it was a joy to have all of these elders around constantly, and then now growing again now, I connected with Higher Dream, and then Higher Dream lived on that same street within that same apartment building that Ras I-Rice lives. So connecting with Higher Dream now, I would go and check Higher Dream car, me at the streets, up and down, and I do my thing same way. So connect with Ras I-Rice now and start check Ras I-Rice. You see, once you start check Ras I-Rice, as the sister say, your first conversation when you and Ras I-Rice go down into that conversation, you say, whoa, this virgin is like my real friend. This is this is it. This is my grandfather, this is my father, this is my brethren, this is my Rasta man to look up to. So start to reason, and as even brother Johnny says, like everyone within our family, Ras I-Rice would drill me and ask me, so how is your mother? How is your father? How is your son? The big son, the big daughter, and I mean calling names and everything.
Yes.
You have to really tell him how they are, You can't just say good, all right. You have to go into some detail. So the conversations are always intriguing. And as Bushman said, the magnetism is so natural, and he does it with such humility, as even Sister Wolete reference is. It is a similar magnetism to that of His Imperial Majesty, where you just really gravitate to
Yes.
Ras I-Rice. So for it was a perfect example of a Rasta man for I to live and learn from. Because I remember in Jamaica when we used to live at Augustown, Hermitage, and then my father usually go and check Sam Brown. And me as a little youth would go with I father. So I have those memories of being at an elder's foot, and then coming to meet someone as prolific as Ras I-Rice now. I felt right at home, and ever since that day, every little moment me have, because instead of go around an emperor, go sit down with the emperor crew and Freddie Dread and Rastaman and sip some champagne or something now, me go check Ras I-Rice and we go sip chalice, and I get to meet Ras Lidj. I met Lion and connected with like ones and ones, and over time Ras Pedo transition, but then you don't know life. As one of the elder transition, one of I and I have youths. So then
Yes.
even I youths then know start to get to know Ras I-Rice, and I started going to the Bingy then more. I didn't get the 10th Street Bingy House vibes, but I get the Bingy wherever we went. The Bingy House, it could be in Northwest, it could be in Southeast, it could be Brandywine. You know, I would be at Ras I-Rice foot and assisting and helping and and so forth and treading with and so forth till the point where even I youngest son Sam Ras I-Rice know when Sam and Jonah born and know them coming up, and the last time Sam was at a bingy, it was I think the last time that Pajak was at a bingy. And then is Ras I-Rice, because Sam was into the drumming and always wanted to be there
Yes.
in the key and seat up and go there and so this time Ras I-Rice said, "Come, Sam," and put him round Patrick drum, and me I say, "Yo, I hope said this is cool, cause Pajak is a serious man, especially about his drum."
Drumming.
So Sam now sit down there and beat drum, do good, and hours of beating, and me I say, poor youth. The youth is not tired. He's just full of zeal and beating the drum, and Pajak forward now and sit down beside him and say, "No, let him play." And Pajak light him pipe and watch Sam. So it was like a ushering in for Sam, that
Yeah.
a rites of passage for Pajak and Ras I-Rice. We say no. Make the youth catch him vibes. And after a while, so said, so done. 2-3 hours later, this little youth is playing do good, dropping asleep. And me I said, "No, son, come." Because he's like 6 or 7, so he's a little kid. So me I said, "Come." And then another little story is that one thing is always a joy being around Ras I-Rice. You are always learning. Your brain is being picked also. So you have to be sharing, you have to be sharp to hold a conversation with such a sharp ample. So it to me, it was the perfect way of learning by example, where a man of poise, a man of love, very, very dignified, a Rastafari elder who has trod from, as we just learned, 13, 14, up until, because as the sister says, always referencing the 1938 modern, and you have to calculate now, 76, 77, 78, and so you're following through, so to be there, I remember again, treading to Rallock. And I think it was the Rallock where Akibika performed.
Yes.
Yes. And
classic here, classic.
yes, Baba Aduna was there. But now the story now is that I am a 6 foot tall individual. Ras I-Rice wasn't a 6 foot tall individual. Ras I-Rice was like a 5,
6.
plus 7, 8-ish. But Baba Aduna now is like a 7 foot elder. So, the morning after the performance, and we're there and we're getting sipping in the morning and reasoning. It was myself, Bingy Carlton, Ras I-Rice, and Baba Aduna standing up there, and we're reasoning, and something just come, because Baba Aduna always have a walking stick. But then this time, Baba Aduna is standing beside Ras I-Rice with this walking stick. I notice Baba Aduna walking stick taller than all Ras I-Rice. And I just say, Ras I-Rice, see, Baba Aduna stick taller than the eye. And I said the whole of we just start laugh. We say we laugh, we laugh, we laugh. Ras I-Rice come all drop off and you know the big roller, I said roller. So we had a ball, you know. So
Oh,
I really wanted to share that
yes,
story
sir.
of the joy
Yes.
of reasoning with, being around, and interacting with Ras I-Rice. He was really a
Mm.
blessed soul, and he led by example. Um, and for the I and I now, we have, as brother Johnny say,
Mm.
big shoes to try to fit into, but we had the example of these elders around I and I. So as brother Ras Lidj said also now, it is I and I turn to impart that same vibes or similar energy to the to first your family, your youth them, and then now to other ones and ones, and be as welcoming and as open. And Ras I-Rice was also a visionary
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
because I Universal Development of Rastafari
Mm-hmm.
is because I was born and raised 12 tribe of Israel, and I am telling you, I am talking about a true Nyabingi elder way I connected with. So it doesn't matter what the legacy mansion was. The fact is Rastafari.
Mhm.
And Ras I-Rice was an exemplary Rasta man.
Yes.
So we give thanks for his life. We give thanks for his years of service, and we give thanks for his I sample, because I have
Yes.
learned a lot, and a lot of what I have taken on in an I life now is, believe me when I say half of the things I do, I can't wait for go run and tell Ras I-Rice. You know, and he wants to hear it. He wants to hear it. So right now I just have to know that he is, you know, in that ancestral realm, and they
Yes.
will see all of I and I works as
Yes.
they manifest. And I have a major thought to carry, as Ras Lidj said, brother Carl, sister Valerie, Ras I-Rice. Boy, if I go left or right and don't go, you know, straight.
No problems. No
So
problem.
boy, the beat now go hard. So I will do what I supposed to do
Give
in
thanks.
this trade. Give thanks.
Yes.
Um, give
Brother
thanks.
Kwasi,
Yes,
may I
yes.
interrupt the eye for 10 seconds, please?
Okay, go ahead.
People watching this, my name is Ras Lidj, and I want to encourage you right now. Click that notification bell and subscribe. You see me drinking from this cup. Please become a Lion's Pride subscriber and subscribe to the Lion's Voice. And you too can get these Patreon gifts and these Patreon cup, and you can sit with us, and more Patreon gifts come. I have sweatshirts and I have more from the Lion Pride. So please click the notification bell and subscribe right now and join the Patreon sponsorship. Thank you. Now
Wow.
back to our regular scheduled program.
You see when you have good brethren, you see when you have good brethren, them support your thing, it's not a mouth talk. Him show you the mug where him get, you know. All right. One of the things I wanted to say before I bring forward my big sister is that we always have to remember the comedy of Ras I-Rice. Ras I-Rice, when he was delivering a story, you know, he's one of the greatest storytellers, you know. When he say, what's wrong with you? You know, and him, Ras I-Rice would deliver a story like no one else, and sometimes he carry a way around there so to bring you back on the part of the he remember, you know. But he would go on a tangent, and it is a whole comedy. And one of the things I'm grateful for is that I met Ras I-Rice when he was in his strength. I used to never think he was a real person, because when you see Ras I-Rice and have fullness of him strength, and when he take off the tam and the Congo with the two side, you know, he had one long Congo and it split in a two, you know what I mean? Mighty. And you know what I mean, when him pull that out and always get a reaction, you know, and him know that too, you know, so him wait for the moment when him go and reveal the terrible and dreadful Congo. So Ras I-Rice is really if this is why everyone is here tonight, because he touched all of us in a certain way. My big sister, Queen Iffiya, whose father was another one of my teachers, who came to the Nyabingi House in Washington D.C. and really helped establish the order to a certain heights. Queen Iffiya, please give us the experience.
Yes, I is the Lord, we give thanks. Everything ties in, and I'm just recounting. It's a whole chronology from a youth starting up in Rastafari. But I want to give all credence to Anai's Ivine, Haile Selassie the First, who have guided I and Her Majesty Empress Menen Asfa, who have sustained the nourishing portion of Anai's life, that allow I to navigate through all the systematic challenges that I have encountered as a people, and particularly as Rastafari. I say I get it double jeopardy. I want to give I more to my family. My mother, Mama Yanzi, Queen Mama Yanzi, matriarch within Rastafari.
Yes.
Bingi Irie, who is not physically present here, who have set precedents for I to follow. 7 girls, and later on when we become an adult, a youth man, Tradin, we give thanks. I want to give enough respect to my kingman, Rasila, and the family, Jamilian, Somalian, Malawi, and Isat and Sila Tafari. I want to give thanks because through their Irish, I have gained greater strength, that I are able here today to declare the glory and more that strength that comes from I's ancient matriarch and patriarch, standing in Rastafari without a doubt. And as I said before, time and time again, I'd never do it any different, but just to become stronger within the glory and fullness and divinity of Haile Selassie I. Most of what has been said is something that I have lived through. I have lived to witness a relationship with an ancient matriarch and patriarch gathering up in the Nyabingi order. I told my parents that Bingi Irie know I was always tagging along behind Bingi Irie. I'm the third of 7 girls, and I always be tagging along with Bingi Irie. It almost seems as though God has made me to understand him a little better. He was so strict that sometimes others couldn't bother with him. But he was a very beautiful man. He was a very wise man. And through him, I was able to encounter all the ancient wissy man. I can't say men, because not to say no men, nothing. And it was always about I. But Bingi Irie I was relinked with Congo I-Rice because, as I said, I grew up in the Nyabingi. I encounter Mama Bubbles from my youth. I also remember Nana Faraika when she was very young. Congo Wato and Bongo Puru. Most of the ancients, them. Mama Miriam, Marshanti was my good friend also. And mostly all the ancients. I don't remember which ancient that I have spoken about here that I had not encountered growing up with them in the community. Congo I-Rice, as there is acknowledged, is a more universal Rastafari. Most of his time was in Kingston. So most of the time when I would be in the Wisi Nyabingi, I wouldn't see him physically there because, there are certain sentiments that was expressing what we call houses and mansion. The Nyabingi was this wisi fire burning one that I love, love very much. That sometimes wasn't able to deal with some of the fire. Some of it was a little bit probably seen as semantics, and some of it probably a misunderstanding. But it was so grounding because for me, it came through the Haile Selassie concept, through the fire, and through the consolidation of the drums. I was physically reconnected with Congo I-Rice when they were coming and then the first trad in the 1988 mission to North America. And that was the first time my father was traveling outside of Jamaica to the United States. He had been to some of the Caribbean islands with the islands like Congo Watu and them and so on. I was physically again relinked with Congo I-Rice in Ralac. But my parents spoke about Congo I-Rice so many times. My mother even joked about how Congo I-Rice probably did like her. And he said it too, that he probably did like her before my father met her. Something of the sort. It almost seemed as though they knew each other from them time, you know? Because my father is from West Kingston and my mother is from the same parish that my sister in Fay trad from, Manchester. So she's a country girl coming to Kingston. And so the both of them, yes. But the radiation of the locks, it was always very symbolic to myself as a youth, yadding up in Rastafari, because and I saw the journey, how the experience has been. You know, when Bingi Irie wouldn't allow us to go to school from a youth without our locks being covered. And I never know no pretty up here business and those kind of things. So when I would see ones like Congo I-Rice, and even my father, Bingi Irie, had one Congo nuts in his back, broad, about 8 inches wide, and went all the way down to, but as it become up in his age, it kind of changed the dynamism of its shape and so on, and its consistency. But that is the kind of locks. So those things kind of always drew my attention from a more heretical perspective. And when Congo I-Rice came to Ralac, I was reconnected with his Congo Mati locks. And even the resemblance of himself and Bingi Irie was so amazing, you know. As I said, there in the rites of passage with Congo I-Rice, that when I sent the itrate with him and Bingi Irie, a West Kingston man said, "Wait, in favor Irie," something of the sort, you know. But Congo, I just love him because of his nature. I didn't have a lot of direct communication with him, but just his aura from in Kingston, from time to time when I would see him physically. And as I say, I was always a Nyabingi Ayata. That's where I grew up, you know. My father, as I think, I consider him a unifier within the houses and mansion within Rastafari in Jamaica. He has his very beautiful brethren in the 12 tribe, the Bobo Shanti. But he will always say that he's a Nyabingi man. And sometimes some of it come into conflict with each other. Even the Ethiopian World Federation, his good brethren are there, and in the 12th, in the Orthodox Church. So a lot of times I wouldn't see Congo I-Rice physically. His pronouncement really reconnected with myself when he came into the United States, and particularly there in Idor, the work that was happening when he was leadership of Idor, etc., etc. And also my Kingman Rasila, I'd encounter him from a ancient and a historical and heretical perspective, because I think they sat on the advisory team that was doing the mounting of the exhibit in 2007, and that was a discussion that was happening from long time, 2003, when I had the global reasoning in Jamaica at the university there. Those conversations was happening, and Congo I-Rice would be coming through there in bits and pieces just to have his say in relation to how that advisory was going, and make his recommendation, etc., etc. When he become ill and would have gotten information from time to time, in my mind, just looking at his locks, and as I chant the chant there, would say, I shall not die, I shall live forever. So I kind of, from a and I'm not sure how to describe it. It could be from a metaphoric perspective that I always hold on to that the way in which Rastafari diligently carry those Congo is not normal people carry those kind of knots. It's not normal. It's not anyone, and that is why you see so much modification with this locks thing today. For me personally, I don't consent to it, but I don't fight with it because I have the younger generation, and I have to recognize the concept of unity in diversity. Yeah, I know, and so it allows me to come a little bit more calmer, a little bit more receptive, and a little bit more recognizing the concept of coexistency. And so I work with all ones, but Congo I-Rice wasn't a ordinary person. And as I said, I look at it from his locks and the element that dwells within there. I had a sister who suffered from.
Not here in the eye. Hold on there. That might be Wi-Fi, the guy. I try. All right, talk again.
What was the last thing that I heard?
You're saying something about your sister?
Yes, there was a sister, my sister of mine, highly intelligent woman. She suffered from lupus, and one of the things that keep her a sense of balance with her was her growing her locks. So I said the locks really powerful. It's not a style. It's not really a style. It's a connection within the anciency of the Nyabingi fire and the Nyabingi drum, and it doesn't have anything to do with houses and mansion. I'm just looking into the Irish of the East Africa, the warriorness that shadowed there. That I take the sovereignty of Ethiopia through the Irish and the elements that dwell within the power of the Isla Trinity, and that's how I see the locks. So Congo I-Rice was one of those ancient that I look at from that perspective. And even though he was going through his journey, in my Irish, I would chant because I know that what you call Isis prayer, it works. I can give a test to that. As I have shared before, that the mole said, the God said it wanted to hide something from human being, right? What it is that it wants to hide from human being is that I and I have the ability, the innate ability to do whatever. And the eagle said, give it to me and I'll take it up high and I'll hide it there. And the God said, no, human being will find it there. And the buffalo said, give it to me and I'll bury it in the plain. And the God said, no, they'll cut through the plane of the earth and they'll find it there. And the sea creature said, give it to me and I'll take it down into the bottom of the ocean. And the God said, no, they're going to go down there. They're probably going to build a submarine and they're going to go down there. They're going to find it and probably they're going to misunderstand it and they're probably going to destroy it. But it was the mother mole who cannot see externally, but she can see internally. She said to the God, place it inside of them. They'll never find it there. So I know that word sound and power, which is what the ancient matriarch and patriarch taught I and I. One voice, word sound and power, it carries that impact. And so that consolidate the Irish of the Nyabingi drums through the fire and the word sound of Ionized I bind Haile Selassie I and Ionized Most Royal Highness Empress Menen Asfa. I was very emotional when I was at the rites of passage, because it's not just a screen show. It's something that I and I have lived and I and I have seen I and I's ancient matriarch and patriarch suffers through it, through the declaration of Haile Selassie and Her Majesty, wearing I and I's Congo locks was always an hindrance, and I've seen how my grandparents denied us because of I and I's locks, the misunderstanding, the systematic oppression that pushed I and I somewhat away from I and I's anciency and I and I's I by himself. And so I give all enough credence to ones like Congo I-Rice who held it through. Just imagine with that countenance and his locks. I've seen children run away from ones with Congo Mati Nats because they did not understand it, and the stigmatization within society, and particularly in Jamaica where I grew up, where ones who don't know, who does not live in Jamaica would think that everyone have locks on their heads and everyone are Rastafari, but to go through hardship, and I can imagine Congo I-Rice, and so he and others have set precedents for I to follow. And as there is an all of I here acknowledge that it's a wholesome responsibility, and I need a clear iris and a clearer sense of understanding, a clearer sense of wise mind and knowledge, coupled with I's love, as it says, only Rastafari love shall stand this judgment. Neither Pope nor Paul couldn't stand this judgment on the Rastafari love. That is pure and clean, is the one that Your Majesty Haile Selassie the first, that science that he used to cut and clear when they came to go on as though they wanted to take over and as I in space in show the throne of Ethiopia. So the science is within the love, and it's not partial, it's clear beyond question. And so I recognize the ancient as he lived that live to the best of his ability, and kind of use it through the iris to guide I and I, that I and I are here today to continue to declare the glory of I and I's high five. Give thanks to Congo I-Rice, and Faye said something very important. The mental health within INI's community, and I don't know if the eyes have heard myself from an early age, I identify it among our people, and then I have gone through great tribulation and trauma. So many of I are traumatized, and so the trauma leave I to even live into a sense of denial. And so I need to create spaces. She's going through our formal training in ensuring that she'll be able to give forward in the community in the way in which she will be able to. And ourselves and others are setting precedents, and I can create a space that healing, intentional healing can take place, because I cite Mama Iris, and I can see the Danita, and I could see, the challenges, the emotional challenges that she was encountering, and that indeed she will require I to continue to assist her along the way, and many others within the community who have encountered my mother as well. Give thanks that I and I are there to help her to carry through, because that's Bingi Irie, our life partner, ups and downs, but always hold the thread of Rastafari in protecting each other in the way in which they did. And so she's here physically, and I need to indeed provide that space as I continue the journey physically along. It's a joke, and I laugh about it with my children. But I said it, one of them said, happy birthday. And I said, yes, it's a fraction of the 900 that I'm going to be physically living for. And she said, what are you talking about, mother? But we give thanks, because the chance that I shall not die, and I shall live forever with Rastafari. And it's true. Nana is one unique way. So we give thanks and more love and blessing to each and every one of I and I. Highly eyes last night, the first time.
Rastafari.
And on behalf of the universal development of Rastafari, I want to thank the eye for coming forward to the celebration of life. And I'm going to stay with the eye a little bit to get, what was the eye impression? You've been to more Rastafari gatherings than you can count. What was your impression coming to Washington, D.C.? I did see the eye get emotional. I shared that with I and I. But what was your impression of the event, if you can just give the ones who weren't able to attend a recap?
I think it was amazing. We look at the time, we start a little bit behind the time that it was original schedule, but it's timely. And I think the time came in a perfect timing, But the whole coordination, I saw the intentional work that was done. And I really give enough respect to those who engage into coordinating the event. I think it was amazing, as I said, and it was well coordinated. The presentation, the way in which everything was put together, I think it was done on a holistically professional level, and I give enough respect to that. I learned a lot more about Congo Iris from a more formal perspective. Like is Ras Wolde, I hear I said there is Joseph.
You're muted, Ras Wolde, you're muted.
Yes, Sister Iffiya.
What date in which one of the months? Is it January or February?
A January moon.
Okay.
No, January born with a Joseph moon. So
okay.
It's January 24.
Okay. So I'm a Joseph too, and also my sister in Fay who was on here, she's Joseph as well. My grandson came on my birthday, he's Joseph as well. But yes, the event was beautiful, and I give thanks. I wouldn't feel well at all if I had missed it. We made Rasila ensure that I came to represent, and I said when I got so emotional, and I'm like, I didn't even say nothing about North Carolina Rastafari Union. It was Sister Ras Wolde who kind of seemingly brought it forward, because really and truly, I tell you, it was emotional just seeing the slide and the whole of the people on there, and I'm say these are people when we know when we encounter, we know some of the journey that they have been through, and really and set us, they open up a space for and I, and I'm looking at how the oral history came about. Them would have said probably some of them can't read and write, but how did they get that gift that they were able to bring it to I, that I and I are here today feeling so proud that I and I held on to it in the way that it become a intellectual or academic pathway now, that ones are looking at it from that perspective. It really has had to be a God-given IRITS, a God-given mission for these people, looking at Bongo Water, Bongo man, them matriarch woman, just relating the Bible from the Orient, from the Kush, right through from an oral perspective. That's amazing. And so we give thanks. When I saw the slide, it was good, and I give thanks that I was able to witness it from that seemingly formal perspective. Yes, I
give thanks. I'm gonna go to Chief Organizer Mama Wolete. Let the family know some of the preparation that went into this event, because I don't know if one's realized the work. We didn't have a lot of time. But this is one of the things that I love about the Washington DC Rastafari family, the Idor family. Mama Wolete, just give us a overview of how the event came together. There is muted.
Ready. Give thanks. Yes. It came together first and foremost with the economic support and the resources of the Rastafari community globally. We were able to raise funds. We got a nice donation from the Bob and Rita Marley Foundation, and all of the ones within DC, Virginia, Maryland, New York, everywhere was sending in resources to support the endeavor. Sister Colleen came forward from Jamaica under the banner of her entity there, Reggae Rituals, and was part of the planning. Brother Wolde created the template for the program. A nice sister over in Mount Rainier. We've been using her space now. We were able to get that space. Brother Milo with the music, cameraman, just everyone coming together. Irie Corner Food, Sister Valerie, Brother Carl, Brother Wolde. for the food piece.
Stick a pin right there because I
Mhm.
want the global family to know that when we have events, we are using Rastafari vendors for
Yes,
our events. So we're
everything.
circulating the resources within the community. So
Yes,
this is collective security in action. Big up Mama Valerie. The food was well tasty.
yes, nice.
Continue, sorry.
Irie Corner, yes, big up Irie Corner every time. Lots and lots of food. Just reaching out on study groups, sending it out to ones and ones. It came together rather seamless, you know. And I just had to say I liberation of life for Ras I-Rice. And it was done. I spoke to Brother Jakes, invited him to do a presentation. Um, Brother Jakes is really Ras I-Rice brethren. Ras I-Rice brethren is his brethren, you
I, I
know.
I'm gonna have Brother Jakes. I spoke to him. I'm gonna have him on the Lion Voice Network. He's
Yes.
gonna bust the seal as my first guest of European descent, and
Mm.
we're going to give him a chance to do his full presentation about Ras I,
Yes.
because it was fascinating. It went
Oh
about
my gosh.
half an hour plus, so we had to cut it short. But it really was fascinating. I mean,
Amazing.
it was
All of the
detailed.
details. All
And,
of the
and
details.
one
It
of
was
the
the
things,
footstep.
yeah, one of the things I wanted to say, because a lot of ones in Jamaica don't know Ras I-Rice, because the Warwicker Hill journey was in the 50s before enough of the ones them forward. So the elders that Ras I-Rice know and dealt with were the real Asian elders in the Nyabingi house, because by time the Nyabingi now trod out a Bakawa, Ras I-Rice done gone a hotel and Cessna plane, and he was living a different trod. So that's why you hear Sister Iffiya say she never see him at the Isis in when Isis moved to the rural countryside and Pitford and all these. Most of those ones don't know Ras I-Rice from them time there, because his time was from a ancient time, the 50s. And we found out recently through Brother Jake's research that when he was at work, he was a teenager. We never know that. You know what I mean? But continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, very young, very young. I changed the date, the initial date, he made his transition on October 31st. And I were looking at the 17th of November as the initial date. And I changed the date in hopes that his family in Jamaica, his daughter, his cousin Kali, even that I would reach out to Morty in the UK, his son. But they need the certificate to take to the embassy to get the visa, and just Babylon just moving the way that it moves. And I went forward with the 31st. Just went forward with that date, added too strong to it, and they're still coming. They're still gonna come, and I will meet with them at that time. But we just made the decision to move forward because ones and ones were grieving and lamenting and wanting to gather. Just gather in his name. Dijas Matkwasi Wendy I mentioned his covenant and the element of surprise. I call the first time he whipped it out at his home. And I was sitting there. I don't even think I had Isaac yet. I may have just had Amira.
Yes.
And we're sitting there reasoning, and I see him fiddling, because it just looks rounded and big. He's fiddling, and all of a sudden, and I'm like, whoa. He looked at me like, oh, you never know. you know? So when the eye blocked that sound, I was smiling. But yes, it came together so itifully, the Nyabingi harps. The harps ride so nice, the eyes is. Give thanks, Queen Iffiya, for the eyes beautiful. chanting. You
Yes.
know, when the I said on study group that the I is coming, he said, just let I know in enough time so that I can appear to be there. And then Brother Jake says, Queen Iffiya wants to come. Please let her know in enough time. So I made sure to let the I know in enough time because I knew it would be to the benefit of the event, you know, with all of the chanting. So give thanks for strengthening that portion. You know, I think everything was just very mighty. The candle lighting, wasn't that candle lighting, Iramoni, nice?
Mm-hmm.
The little purple candles all lit there amongst his eye trades and Mama Thea. Mama Thea had all of those things printed and framed up and in reggae rituals with the candle lighting and just so many bits and pieces. Everything came together so itifully because you just never know how those types of events are going to go. You just never know. I became a little overwhelmed. A few of I and I became overwhelmed as we just constantly keep hearing, of his glory, and then you start missing the flesh, But it was very, very beautiful, and so many hands on deck, all hands on deck. It was Tyler Zeladino. Zella's praise. I love the video when I saw it, when he put it up on the study group.
Yes.
But to see him present that, say Ras I-Rice son that, you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so itiful, Zeladino's. He say, how does it say? He transcended from one
From the
this
physical to the celestial.
Yeah,
Yes.
physical
physical
to
to
the
the
celestial.
celestial. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so
Real
so.
imperial.
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah.
man, really Hyla, and
Sister Isla.
Siddiqui,
Yes.
Sister Isla. My father
Mm-hmm.
walks a mighty road. Oh, that's the big tune. Are we big
Beautiful,
tune that?
yes,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah, Sister Isla,
Just
big tune.
yes, just to add a little bit
Go for
more, Mama
mm-hmm.
Wolete,
Yes.
Sister Isla.
Mm-hmm.
I first met her when she was very young. She didn't have any children yet. Like in 1999 or so, when the
Mm-hmm.
community in New
Mm-hmm.
York,
Mm-hmm.
the
She
Ayabingi
probably had
always.
she probably
Yes,
had
so
Jareel.
She had
Jareel may have been
Jareel, yes,
little.
she did. She
Yes.
did. She
Yeah,
did.
she
She
didn't
did
have
have
the other
Jareel.
four.
The
Yes.
other four came after. Yes, it was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Yes,
To
in
see
the
her
Bronx
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, man. That's we
indeed.
big
Perfect.
entertainer that. Yes, and Mighty Road and Redemption, her new song. She bust a new tune there. And
Yes.
I might be the first to have heard. Yes, Redemption. And Deaky Spliff, Sadiki Hall, Pam Hall's nephew. I like to call all the fame and the immunity.
I did not know that. How long I
The
know
great
Sam.
Pam Hall.
I
That's
have
her.
a song. I have a
Yeah, that's
song
his
with Pam
auntie.
Hall. I have a song with Pam Hall. I get ready for drop on the people.
That's his auntie, and his uncle is the other Rastafari from Miami, Judah. Ras Judah is his uncle. Yes. So Siddiqui filmed it and put everything up. Yeah, it was just everyone really coming together. The money came in, to manifest it, and all hands were on deck, celebrating that great celebration. And I have to definitely hold on to that moment and just keep replicating it over and over again in all of the gatherings, all of the work. So much work to be done. I think Ras I-Rice has left I and I a good black print, to follow because at 16 or 15, the Igelic House, I and I will have to do a Zoom on that whole era, that era of the Rastafari camp,
Yes.
right? And Ras I-Rice founding one of them with the bongo head full and the bongo tawny. And I mean, Ras I-Rice, someone said something about Count Ozzy's daughter. She might have been on Ark or somewhere.
Yes.
And Ras I-Rice is like, is that, just pretend. Is that the daughter that he has with Sharon? because Count Ozzy and Ras I-Rice are brethren. We're brethren.
Yes.
The great Count Ozzy
Yeah,
is
man.
Ras I-Rice normal brethren. The bongo headfuls and the bigger and all of these brethren, bongo tawny, these are Ras I-Rice's brethren, and these are the names that ring the bells in Rastafari and in Nyabingi. And this is who seated up in that early Iowa with him. So yes, I think he would be pleased with the gathering that I called in his name, and so many more gatherings to come, because the work just continues and it strengthens. And I have to definitely take the baton that was passed. Ras I-Rice wanted to repatriate. He wanted to go to Africa.
Yes.
Baba Ras Marcus wanted to go to Africa.
They trotted the trot of Moses, They led us to the promised land, but they didn't get to enter.
Didn't get to enter.
I mean, so they really spent 40 years in the wilderness just
Yes.
free different ones, I mean? When you really
Yes.
check the heretical science enough of the Asians, they wandered in the wilderness, just freeing ones and leading them, ones like myself,
Yes.
to know that this is our mission, this is our divine destiny. Repatriation is a must. Brother John, as IDOR president, to us about how do we keep the legacy of Ras I-Rice alive. Brother John was on the food duty, and me never see so much plate heap up, mountain of food. People are leave with mountain and the generosity. And of course, we know Spicy Delight here in DC, but that's another story. But how did you see the event, Brother John, and how as IDOR do we keep that legacy of Ras I-Rice alive?
Give thanks again for another opportunity. I love it. Ras, the event, first of all, was timely, orderly, a very special moment overall. Highlighting Ras I-Rice's accomplishments, and very inspirational, memorable experience. Overall an excellent attribution without incident. Food was good. Every goodie was at their best or good behavior. You know what I mean? So the takeaway from that now for I is that I and I as an immunity must, not should, but must continue to highlight the liberty of the ancients, not just Ras I-Rice, but all the elders that have passed through and have contributed, given their life. Ras I-Rice personally, I've given up so much. Ras I-Rice came from a middle class family. In those days in Jamaica, you have a middle class home, father and mother who was providing well for the children. A child can go into a refrigerator and pick whatever they want to eat. Not many children in Jamaica grew up that way, and he gave that up, for the liberty to show ones and ones that a similar thing would be Muhammad. That's not a good example, but Buddha, who have given up the comforts of life, to live very uncomfortably, amongst the poorer class of people at that time in Jamaica. And the thing also as a teenager, such a young youth, 13, 14, dropped out of high school to pursue the vision of Rastafari. So we give thanks, and it is very important that as IDOR as an organization, that I and I continue to uplift and highlight the works of the ancient. And I hope all ones would join I and I. I know our Madam Chair, I know the highest part and member of the organization, will continue to do so. I know Ras Wolde, I know Ras Lidj, I know Queen Iffiya would also contribute in uplifting and continue to let this legacy grow forward, that generations after generations can look at it as examples, for their children, and maybe make it not as hard as he did, because he already did the rough work. It's incumbent on us now, to deal with our children and show them the way, the truth, and the light. And we give thanks to such a beautiful soul, as the Bridging says, as transcended to this celestial realm. Hopefully he can guide I and I through that space, through his wisdom that he left behind. And I will share with the item at this moment too, because I already had a vision with the brethren.
Yes, it is alive. Yeah.
I came into a room and sight up the bridge and seat up on this leather sofa, no shirt, and I'm a young man, and I'm 20s, early 30 maybe, and no shirt, and the Congo Nachi just flowing down, and have him spliff on the side of the sofa, and with the ash right there, and him, I said, Ras I-Rice, I sleeping? And him said, no, I'm just meditating, I go and rest, Johnny. And, so I give thanks that he's even visited I since that time, and continue to love I and share with I his wise mind.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Give thanks, I love it. Rastafari, bless
He just transcend from the physical form and doing his celestial work now,
Really, I am grateful that he has touched me from that realm.
Yeah, man.
And
as Brother Carl told Ras Wolde, it's not that I and I must re-enroll in the University of Adversity, but we must always remember his journey, because as you said, he left a middle-class home, Calabar, and he told me, Ras I-Rice is one of the co-creators of the Rastafari language. I know that there are ones in Mobay that are contesting. We're going to deal with that. But he was one of the co-authors, and Ras I-Rice told me the reason that they went up into Warwick Hill is that he was wanted. He was a wanted man. Police were looking for him. And he went up, and he said, and at that time they were eating fish because they live on the beach, and he was a fisherman, and them a hustle on the beach and do things. And he said when he went up in the hills, this is how the Ital trod, because there was no fish up in the hill, and he couldn't come down, so they had to live off of the trees, the this, the that, the crop. They couldn't go shop to buy things because people were looking for him. People never know, even some of my brethren never know he was wanted. So he said that's why them start use the crocus bag and all of these things. It was really a survival necessity that caused these things, but over time the liberty just became, because the early Rastafari were not ital. Most of the elders were eating meat or eating fish and different things. It's over time that these things evolve, and a lot of it was necessity, because when they went up into the hills to escape the persecution, they lived off of the, we call them bird imple now, but these were the original bird imple from them time then at the 40s and 50s. And again, this is why a lot of ones don't know Ras I-Rice, because by the time him leave that trad there and return to civilization, it was the early 60s, which still, when I reason with Ras Profi, I say,
civilization, Ras Kwasi. Civilization. When you return to civilization.
Exactly, when you return to civilization. Yes. Because I reason with Ras Profi, because he's the next bird imple, and him show I that I say, Ras I-Rice, and him say, yeah man, and him say, them man, they are big man for I, and look up ones look at Profi as a great Asian, and he's telling you Ras I-Rice was, he say I was a youth monks them Monday, so look at that. And the last time I talked to Ras Profi, I told him I was going to call him when I was with Ras I-Rice, and Ras I-Rice passed, so I never get to make that connection, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things that kind of make me feel a little way. when we
Yeah.
met on it, because we didn't expect Ras I-Rice to leave us, even though he was bedridden. We didn't expect that to happen when it happened. But that is life. And we give thanks. Ones like Ras Pele were recording, and we'll be doing some documentary and making sure Idor will make sure that the legacy is preserved in the right way. Ras Wolde, and then I'm coming to the Ras Lidj. In terms of, we're doing a lot of work, myself and Ras Wolde, with the Rastafari family in Jamaica, the Rastafari Mansion and organization. Ras Wolde is also one of the trustees and the Association of Rastafari Creatives. Jamaica Music Conference. Myself and Ras Wolde have been moving very closely, and Ras I-Rice was one of the ones who really was pushing I to continue the work and to take it further. What responsibility did I feel now, Ras Wolde? Knowing the reasons that you had with Ras I-Rice, where do you see the best way for us to preserve his legacy?
Well, the two ways. One is with with I and I individuality, living in a similar manner that Ras I-Rice lived, exemplifying love, humility, fully treading Rastafari, not no lukewarm, halfway thing, but fully embedded within the movement of Rastafari. First and foremost. Secondly, is just action. Is years of reasoning, learning, deciphering. Right now works. So building the unity that we are supposed to build, mandated by His Imperial Majesty, centralizing the efforts. We have spent time organizing. We have a lot of organizations, and so forth. Now we need to centralize the effort, and so that we can focus on the community development piece, which is the Rastafari community, that Rastafari village. Because repatriation is not just 7 miles of ships coming to pick up ones sitting and waiting. We are going to have to put in place the economic base to either buy the ships, buy the planes, or sponsor the trips to carry these elders who are still here with us. Because as I shared at the event, when I was driving on the King's Highway and Dennis Brown Promised Land playing, and I am in a bliss like, whoa, because all of my life I am here in Dennis Brown Promised Land, treading on the King's Highway, and finally I am on the highway and this song playing. So this was nostalgia. This was like epic, and then the joy came, and then thereafter a little bit of sadness, because I was there treading by myself. I didn't have my Ras I-Rice there with I didn't have my brethren Quasi, brother Johnny, the family there, and all of us. So for it not to be just migration, for it to be repatriation, we have to think communal, and thinking communal. We first have to develop families, and then the families develop a strong community, and then we focus on nation building. So we have a far way to go, but we have to just note that the elders have taken us a far way already. So where we are now, we need to continue to stand on their shoulders and know, say, they are still with I and I in the celestial, guiding us with that same wise mind, you know? And we just have to, everyone has a role to play. You have to look within their self and find what that role is within Rastafari. You know, I know say I am good with graphics, you know, web design, business development, the little things that I know that I do and have done, and my life has trained me. Those are the skill sets that I would contribute towards the movement, because there's no movement without action.
No.
You're stagnant, right? So the movement, we have to move. So just make sure that the ones find what their role is within the bigger picture, within the body of Rastafari, and play that role to the best of their ability. Do it with humility, with pride and dignity, just as His Imperial Majesty would have done, and as our elder Ras Congo I-Rice has shown us. Give thanks.
Thanks, give thanks. And I'm going to give everyone a chance to give a final word. So we're gone past 2 hours and people have work in the morning. I have to be respectful or they won't answer my calls when I call them, family. There's no end to reasoning in Mount Zion. Make sure you click the like button, share, subscribe. We're trying to hit 100 people in the Patreon by January 1st, family. I cannot do it alone. To my core lion pride, consider $5, $10 a month. The goal is really to get to 1,000, but we have to start somewhere. So 100 by January 1st. Help I and I to reach that goal. Ras Lidj is part of the Lion Pride and Patreon, one of our first supporters on the platform. So me know say he's an action man. But Ras Lidj are gonna give the fullness. Final sounds on how we preserve Ras I-Rice legacy, and then give us any final sounds that the I have, and then also let the people know how they can support the I. We want everyone to spend money with the panelists. Each of these panelists are entrepreneurs. They're doing their own thing. They have things happening. Let us circulate the Rastafari, the Pan-African dollar, by supporting each other. Hard economic times are coming, family. I keep sounding the trumpet, and we have to get used to supporting each other. You know, we pay bills, we pay all kind of things. Our money goes out. We need to start siphoning some of that money that we're getting out there and putting it into the community, so that we can build that economic base that is essential for repatriation or any movements that we're doing. We cannot do it without economics. So I'm going to pass it to the I, Ras Lidj. How do we preserve Ras I-Rice legacy? And give us any final sound.
So give thanks. And before I go to the full of preserving Ras I-Rice, I just want to reflect on what the Empresses was saying with regards to the I liberation itself.
Yes, I didn't get that recap. Give us your recap too. Yes,
you know, for me, our Bingy community here in Washington, D.C., we've been from 5th and Mbingi House to Northwest to 10th Street to Brandywine, everywhere. And we've seen within the building of the house, we've seen it up and down, numbers rise and numbers get small. That event that night was something like I probably experienced at the first Nyabingi that I went to in New York, Prospect Park, with Ras I-Rice and the elders. For me, Ras I-Rice presence itself was in that building that night. I had not seen so much ones and ones come together like that in so long, with so much joyfulness.
Yes.
And that is one of the things that I really want us to preserve as a community. That energy that was in that building that night. I can't name all of the people who I have seen and haven't seen in so long. But that's how Nyabingi always was for me every time I attended. And sometimes I would go to Nyabingi in recent years and times, and it didn't have that, and it didn't have that feel. So what we created and Ras I-Rice presence being in that building in the celebration of his life, it was a life journey, and I just saw life in there and everyone. So I want to definitely preserve that energy. Two more things I have to talk about. Sister Isla Benjamin, man, you guys don't know, that is my little sister. I can tell you, when we both started the music together from Fifth Street, I used to have this tape on cassette tapes, if y'all go back that far. A brethren of mine, a DJ, gave me a cassette tape for, because I started DJing and learning. So I would learn how to ride the rhythm. And it was all pure Jamaican music rhythms. So I would be teaching myself how to DJ. And that's the only tape I had. Upon meeting Sister Kua, we was talking about music and do a thing. And that tape was so special to me. I gave it to her. And the next time I saw her, she said, Ras Lidj, I'm so sorry. The tape popped. You know what I mean? So
the young people are like, what are they talking about?
Oh, man, if I can show you a cassette tape right now. That's how we used to listen to music, on cassette tape. But she popped my rhythm tape. And that was the only rhythm tape that I ever had. And I used to rehearse to, right? So to see her, and we toured together with the Itals. The Brethren Keith Porter carried us out on tour together one time. I and Sister Isla Benjamin went on tour, so that was an experience. So to see her full strong and present her music there, it was just such a joy for me. Now, one more thing I got to talk about. I know we got to wrap this up. The food. I'm going to be honest, man. I ate before I came there. Okay? So, Roddy can tell you this too. I was probably the last, if not one of the last persons to go get a plate. I stood around the DJ. You know how I love music. The DJs just play some islandful music. I was just enjoying myself. So finally, I was looking at the food and it just looked so good. I said, boy, I can't be no Wongo God, because if I go put something on that plate right now, I can't eat it all, but it looked good. So somebody showed me they had these carry home things, right? And I took the plate and I brought it home, right? I want to tell y'all straight up. I ate that food yesterday.
Okay.
It was, as we say in DC, the junk was banging, man. It was still good. You hear me? So more like food, man. And I called Ras Iley. I said, Ras Iley, one of the things that we need to do, we need to have one of the fun things we need to do is have a Ital cook-off. Because I didn't even know who made the food. I was just like, man, we should have an Ital cook-off or something like that. I just enjoyed it that much. As far as moving forward, Ras Wolde, I was just listening to you when you said the King's Highway. And I want to tell you one of the things about continuing this journey and Black Star Liner. I had the pleasure of going to Ghana not once but twice. And one of the blessed things that happened to me the second time I went in Ghana, you said you were there alone, and I don't want you ever to feel you alone, because what happened to me is going to happen to you. The second time I went to Ghana, I was there doing a Nyabingi time. I ended up in the Volta region at a Nyabingi. And who me book up in Nyabingi? No Ras Kwasi, man. That was like, yo. Kwasi and the brother from, what is it?
Bingy Sean. Yeah, Bingy Sean.
Bingy Sean. So
that was a mystic. That was a mystic.
It was a mystic. So you see this Nyabingi life, this same journey that you're talking about, Brother Wody. We are making a tradition, and it's there. Even if it's one who go through the portal to Africa and reach Mount Zion, them time there, ones and ones will continue to come and continue to come. And we shall see one another in this land, in this place. Again, I witnessed it with what, bucking up Ras Kwasi there. And one of the things Kwasi said to me was, so Lidj, when you packing up, man, and when you coming to stay for good. And I'll never forget that question. And then after he said that to me, when we touched back on the grounds on this side, he said, Lidj, I got my land. So, you know, this is forward movement, Rastafari forward movement.
Yeah, big people business.
Big people business, ones and ones. We are there. We're doing the works. Continue. And Ras I-Rice, because you have to know that each one of us on this panel, each one of us listening, the word sound. And I'm going to inject one more thing real quick. For me to be from Southeast DC and reason with Jamaican people when I go, it's funny. They're so surprised that
Southeast.
Southeast. Beautiful. Southeast.
Southeast with an F. Southeast.
Yeah,
Southeast. Original. Right? So they so amazed in Jamaica when I go there, and I already know about Bakawal. I know about Nikita Khrushchev and Siaga and Michael Manley. They're just looking at me as a visitor, but I sat at the foot of Ras I-Rice. So I know some stories that are so during the times from the 50s and them times, like they say, when Nikita Khrushchev and these things was happening and all of these things. And Bridget are looking at me like, okay, you well learned. I went to Ras I-Rice school, you know what I mean?
Professor. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so these things, the unity and the strength, and I just give y'all that we are living these things, and I'm speaking to you as they're happening to me now. I feel so assured that just seeing this happening during this time and these things, and we're going to continue to yard to Africa, yard forward to Jamaica, move throughout this diaspora of America, Rastafari, brethren and sisters, whether you're 12 tribes, Bobo, Naya, Bingi, all of these works and these word sounds in our own time. You may not see one massive collective movements of, as Wolde say, 7 ships happening. You know, it may take ones and ones. He may have to take his kids, and then little more I take my kids. Kwasi took his kids, and one of the main things, Kwasi ended up back here. His queen and his youth was still there in Africa. That's so powerful. So when we see this, we know that Rastafari journey, Rastafari liberty, Rastafari chart is true. It is real. The things that we learn can happen and can manifest. We have the example before us in Ras I-Rice when we look at this whole, even, you know, God bless Jakes, but even the book what he give us is probably not even the full book. As they say, only half the story has ever been told.
It can be. Yeah, man.
It cannot. So we know that this liberty and this journey is real. It should happen. Thank you, Kwasi, so much for Lion Voice. Patronage. Again, I'm Ras Lidj. This business you see here with me, my Empress and I started it, and it started it. They say anytime you get a queen, yes, anytime you get a queen, your things multiply. I started out selling reggae CDs and Rastafari wares and some reggae paraphernalia just to sell at my shows. What you're looking at behind me is a whole shop. We do T-shirts. We do mugs like what Kwasi is drinking from. We do sublimation. We do so much things. We can be reached at Raemia King Designs, RAEMEA. KIN, Raemia Roots, short, at Raemia Roots. That's our email. You see my name down there, at Rego Music. I'm on Instagram, Ras Lidj Rego on Facebook, and the social media. So I'm not going to say that's not important to me, because in this platform, it was more important is that I stress the liberty of Rastafari way of life. And I can tell you as a living example from reggae music, remember, people don't know about go-go music sometimes. And people look at me and say, So how you mix reggae and go-go if that's gonna work?
To the
You know,
east.
if it's gonna work. And I started this journey like 1991. All to the east is playing in Africa. All to the east is
Nice.
playing in Jamaica.
It's
Okay.
nice.
And I don't know how
Make sure you go to All to the East on YouTube after you come
It's
on
nice.
live. Type
Big
in All to
tune.
the East, Ras Lidj in YouTube. Beautiful video shot in Ghana.
Yeah, big tune.
Continue, Ras Lidj. Seal up.
So, I give thanks. And like I say, above money, it is Rastafari word sound, Rastafari heart, and Rastafari spirit people that has given me what we would call this success in music. So for me, the music is not about ego or so much Ras Lidj. Reggae music itself is greater than ego or Ras Lidj. It's about the message in the music, which Ras I-Rice and the elders taught me from beginning, to put the message in the word sound, and that as long as I use Rastafari word sound, I would stand out and be different. The journey is harder because people are not buying my music in the thousands because, as Peter Tosh said, I don't sing baby I love you, I love you, I love you, and let me, and whatever the trap is doing today with the young people. No, I still keep the message in the music, but I believe in that, and I will put my every dollar and strength into giving forward Rastafari liberty and word sound as a musical messenger. And I'm blessed to have my brethren and sister with me and in full support and full strong. And I want anyone watching the world to know Rastafari liberty is real. It is a way of life. Almighty Jah is the God of the living. So for me, Ras I-Rice has never tried on, or I don't use the word D with that. I don't use the D word. He is his iris is still living, through and through, and we will continue to live through and through. And just like I see Ras I-Rice, Ras Kwasi in Ghana, I'm gonna see Ras Wolde, Brother John, Queen Ife, Sister Wolete, everybody. We're all gonna sing the same song.
Yes. Thanks,
Yes.
Ras Wolde. Give me your final sound.
Ras Wolde again?
Yes, sir. Your final sound.
Right. Final sound. Yeah, man, boy. We give thanks, and to really add to, we shall all meet again in that space. I will be purchasing a plot of land right beside Ras Kwasi, which is also beside Brother Johnny. We're building an estate there. So Ras Lidj, please, you can come and get your plot there too. You know what? I'm gonna save a plot for you. I'm gonna pay up for it.
Save one for I, Brother Walde.
All right. Yes.
Save one
Mama.
for I if you want the okra sip.
All of I and I there. Boy, Rasta, yes. We have to really note that Ras I-Rice is really a connector. He has connected all of I and many more before I, and still in his celestial state, he will be doing the same. So I can publicly make that commitment that I will be one of them that will carry on the torch, and we're gonna make many of our ancestors very proud.
Yes,
Very,
sir.
very proud. So every little step is a victory. Every little step is a step closer. And even note that we will be doing a group trip to Ethiopia next year, November, because that's something I went and I saw that we can do. And the other day, the Impulse from Trinidad House, 31s went to Ethiopia, and it was a motivation. So even the same thing now. I spent 15 years, no more, 30 years promoting. But you know, you start promote some dancehall thing first until I went to the Red, Gold, and Green stage shows, as I call it, which was my glory days. And Ras I-Rice supported that. That took a Ras I-Rice first point me to Janine, you know, new name. This was
I
when
too.
reggae, with it name revival just started. So
Yes.
Wolde, I know that you like your music. Come and look at this. And me and him listen to the song, and then we start, because he was a computer whiz too, you know. We started digging YouTube, and we find Chronics, we find all of these, and over the time, Ras I-Rice was, when I say very encouraging, to the point where all of these artists I was able to put on a stage in DC, you know, from Kabaka to Chronics to, you know, so it was an honor for I to spend those years beside the elder, because I know he has been very encouraging to each and every one of us here on this call, because I know Ras Lidj, we reason all the time. Ras I-Rice say, yo, reggae, go fight, do it this way, and encourage and constantly asking, how is it going? You know, and so forth. And I know that every one of I and I will have a similar testimony. And I know that I trod within the Washington, D.C., you know, Ras I-Rice was a very encouraging individual to I, and supportive, you know, and I look forward to, as I said, you know, duplicating that example. It might not be Ras I-Rice, because Ras I-Rice is Ras I-Rice, but I go and do it Wolde Israel way, the Rastafari way. So I just give thanks for this platform. Ras Quasi, my brother, boy, we give thanks for Lion Talk, Lion Voice. The lions and the lionesses are very grateful for the eye and the eye's work. And as the eye say, I have been on this platform when it was, no, I think his I and I son were the first two to even subscribe. You know, I'm a call up 3 sons, so him get 4
man, we make sure
subscription
all
right away. So then now to see that 15,000, just off of the consistency, the quality, and also the content that is being shared, you know, it is also evident of the work that Ras I-Rice put in to even encourage the eye to even get to this point where, they are sharing just like how Ras I-Rice share, you know, pull them in. So we give thanks for Lion Pride, and give thanks for the moment to all my boy. I was about to say elders, but me I say, boy, me look like the one of my wives. to the panelists, my uncle, my auntie, them, and my brother, my big brother. Yeah.
You're an adult. You're an adult.
Yes, I am an
I find
adult.
people who are
Really
elder
and
too
truly.
quickly. We not reach elder stage. You're an adult. I don't allow my brethren to call himself a elder yet. We not reach that so yet.
Anciency.
Yeah, we all
Anciency. Getting there. I tell them, say, I am the youngest older. You know, so
yeah, man, give thanks. Brother John, final sound. I want to get all of the toughest man out the way and save the last. Who got music there?
Brother John.
Oh.
Oh, to the east.
All to the east.
Yes, I will give thanks, give thanks to the Isis, man, as Wolde has state about elders and his music tradition and journey, you know. I man remember that young ample Wolde that came to Iman Gates when I was in Silver Spring as a little youth with my little nephew them and my cousins them, you know. And
Yes.
I come from high school. They look at I as an elder, them time they too. So, so I mean I talk over 20 plus years now, same way. So yeah, man, we give thanks to the journey, my nephew. You know, because it's been a far and a long journey, you know. Yes, I will give thanks. I will give thanks to Ras I-Rice for his wise mind, you know, for his he never missed an opportunity to teach. And will they declare that to, you know, Ras I-Rice is our bridge, you know, when him reasoning with you, him asking your questions, you have to think. You know, you just go amongst the hygiene and just think, so you can just utter sounds and just speak your, you know what I mean, and just say anything you want to. You have to defend that. You know, like it says a professor, so you have to defend the thesis too. You see it? So, you know, so we give thanks that Ivan was able to sit up with that ancient, you know, because from a youth is just strictly elders I man amongst, you know, from yard, you know, I and them kind of man there. So, you know, I grew up with the elders. So when I come and see Ras I-Rice Bridging, and as I tell the item earlier, you know, when I got a second home, you know, I came to the Bingy house looking purpose because everything is intentional. Because I want to deal with I and I people to do I works, you know. And Bingy Cindy said to her, yeah, man, I man can do the plumbing work. And Ras I-Rice come forward and him say, you know, I man is a Tyler. So, just bring in whoever the Iowa bring in and just come in and just mash this works, you know. So I give mighty thanks and glory, man, for the elders, for the ancient, that I was able to sit up with them at their feet, you know, and learn so much, man. So we give thanks to this opportunity. Ras Kwasi, you know, I give thanks to the platform, you know, the Lion's Voice, you know, give thanks to it, man, and continue to grow in strength. You know, we will continue to support you, of course, most definitely. You don't know. We always support good works. Rastafari, bless and keep.
Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. That was a tough face section, the brethren them. No, we have the beautiful daughters of Zion. I know if it said them final words. I leave that. You know, these are my big sisters who, you know, who have really inspired her in the levity. You're never going to see two more firm Rastafari sisters than these two. You might match them, but you're not gonna beat them. You know, your firm. You know what I mean? Mama, well, yeah, Mama Iffiya, give us your final song, then we'll seal up with Dr. Wolete.
Yes, I give thanks. Give thanks for the solidarity. Give thanks for the word and the sounds that it brings, the power that it brings, you know. I hear the Emperor mention the Black Star Line, and that was what brought Hannah here, Ethiopia. The mission, the fact-finding mission to the birth site of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I. It came out of one of the last official gathering there on the Scott Pass Nyabingi ground. And the vision came through Rasila, who, you know, highlighted Anna's journey to the birth site of the Majesty and really highlighting the womb that they are presenting their book, Dr. Wolete, Mama Wolete.
That's right.
And it's really a consolidation, and that is the element that I'm getting out of it. And I put the calling out, and the organization that volunteered to do the logistics was based here in North Carolina, up in Black Mountain. That is where I had the first Ralak, Rastafari, Living Arts and Culture. Is a liberty that I live every day from I was born up until this time. And it's perpetuate through generations, you know. The reemergence of the Black Star Line at the first Hispanic summit in 2005. It came out of there also. It was re-highlighted from an intentional perspective, where it's at this time, connecting the dots and the pieces. In January of this year, and I was in Panama, where they had professional people and different backgrounds relating to the establishment of a maritime company or business. It's still going through its transitional stages, connecting the bits and pieces of the work of I&I. One of the major things that I see coming out of Congo I-Rice is again the concept of diversity, unity in diversity.
Yes.
And I here in North Carolina have a piece of land that is legally owned by I&I, a couple of acres, and I have the community here. My I-Rice growing up within the ancient and see what they have been trying to bring to the center, and I are recollecting it now using the concept of the Sankofa and bringing it forward to the center, that all of I&I from I&I's different perspective can look at it from an intentional perspective, an intentional aspect to ensure the solidification of the family, the generation to come. That Their Majesty Haile Selassie I said, wherever there is African blood, there is a basis for greater unity. That is what it is. I know that sometimes it's very challenging, and as I'm reminded from time to time, it's not uniformity, but a unity that recognizes the common goal that will enable I&I to ensure the sanctity and sanity of I&I's sovereign space, the throne of Ethiopia, the power of the Isle of Trinity, whether I transmit through Ghana, through Tanzania, wherever it is, north, east, west, and south. Their Majesty said the example of the developed countries apply amply proves the truth of the proverb, unity is strength. I don't know if were they hearing, because there was a call coming in.
Yes, we heard. Perfect.
Yes, and their Majesty continue to say, our greatest asset is our unity. As I said, it's a challenging path, because I&I are so traumatized throughout the time that sometimes I&I not recognizing the importance of the relationship between each one. And sometimes we lash out on the people who are closest to I&I. The I-Rice of Congo I-Rice brought all of I&I together, and to recognize that each of us may take different pathways going to the same destination. And so I&I have to be more patient with each other in listening the experience that each one have taken or have had on the pathway that I have taken. It's different, but I are going to the same destination. I've never heard the concept of the go-go and the something there, because I know say go-go in Jamaica, you know what go-go is in Jamaica, right? Yes. So
Totally different meaning.
Once I can go into there and do that sound like transformation there, may I say we can do anything, right?
Yes.
We can make anything happen.
Thank you for saying that, Sister Iffiya, because DC go-go is completely different than Jamaica go-go. We don't want
really?
Yes.
Go-go in DC is a music. It's a very, very
I would never know.
I'm sorry I had to stifle you. Go-go.
How did he do that? How did he connect go-go with reggae? Okay, all right.
You are so real. That is so real.
So for the global family, go-go in Jamaica is associated with strip clubs and that.
Yes, they take off their clothes and wind up themselves. and so on. The places that we usually cover, they usually have it exposed. Yes. The things that we do in our private place, they usually do it in the open in go-go. Yeah.
In go-go, yes. No. So,
all right.
So it's a different thing.
But we give thanks. I love it, and give thanks to the platform that allow I and I to continue the conversation of the balancing of I and I's people, and how I and I can create even a greater economic balance within I and I cell, because the IRIS is there, but as the Majesty said, economic and material and iritical balance is very, very important. A lot of I and I are yet to reach that a transitional state, and I are trying to figure it out, because every time I and I start, there's always an interception. When you look at the Shashamane ground, how so much work has been done, even though sometimes it's not done into a consolidated way, but a lot of work has been done, and I have to give enough respect to all those who have contribute or attribute to the transitional state that the Shashamane ground is into. But again, the system intercept, because they really don't want I and I to come together, because they know that once Africa's righteous people come together, the whole world will see the light shining through. What happened with Scott Pass, however unfortunate the situation might have been, misunderstanding among ourselves, those are things that I and I's ancient yearn. As we spoke about the oral history, why and I put it into a perspective that it can benefit the grassroots youths. There's a thing that there is called the Sacramental University, to ensure that scholarship are given to our youths. I'm sure Congo I-Rice would love that. Whatever the trust fund is, the Rastafari trust fund, that it can have a space within there that can enhance the different, the varying important projects that I and I have among each other. The Naya Bingi order, the drums, bringing that iris of reconciliation, and also that iritical strength that I and I need so much at this time in enabling I and I, as Her Majesty spoke of how the importance of our tears and our prayer, what it did to bring forward the secure the sovereignty of Ethiopia. So I and I coming here tonight and speaking about it. I'm sure Congo I-Rice, like Bingi Irie, and I'm getting sentimental with that. Bingi Irie's work, Marshanti, all I and I is ancient matriarch and patriarch, to remember the coronation of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, that it was a family-oriented element and science that was worked physically in 1930, to recognize the importance of teamwork, that each and every one of us have a responsibility. And it's easier said than done, because it's great challenge. And I recount the 1983 conference as a youth, right? Very symbolic. I tell the I love it. And sometimes some of I and I misunderstand it. The 2003 Rastafari Global Reasoning, the centenary of His Imperial Majesty right there on the ground in Shashamane, bringing those legacy into perspective, and so and I can come to a common ground as to what the vision, the iris of I's ancient nature and patient, why they brought it, and find out to continue to hold on to it, and to ensure that it is beneficial in a balanced way to each and every one of I who call by thy name, Haile Selassie the First, Rastafari.
Rastafari.
So we give thanks. We give thanks and as always, and ask that the iris of I bind, I continue to guide I with wise mind, knowledge, and understanding. As I had spoken in earlier time, and I looking forward to the unification with Idor and I Yanti Nayayingi together. And I look forward
to make that happen. As
coming
in
April 21st. We'll be there in the numbers.
Yeah, we're gonna rise
make
and
sure that
Ralak trip is one of my great life moments. That Ralak moment with
yes, I. So where we're at on the land now and purchasing and having a nice own tabernacle beautifully built there is one of the mission of Ralak, the North Carolina Rastafari Union. And so I bit in a timely manner, bit by bit, bringing it to perspective, I'm inspired by Congo, Bingishan, the Eyes, Abisha, Idor, work that bring in the young generation in recognizing the importance of Africanness and approaching it from a coordinated perspective and also from a professional perspective. I really admire that a lot. And to
Reggae
secure
music
the
and Rala.
ital liberty, yes, I secure the ital liberty in Rastafari. That through I and I, Rasila vision, that I and I have a game that is called the Mind Race, that is beautifully and diligently coming to fruition. And I will have it out there on the market in due time. That reflects I and I's agency, galaxy looking at business and securing the planets for succeeding generation in a healthy way. So all of these things are coming together and, as I said, solidifying the Irish and the word son of I and I bind Haile Selassie the first. And I give thanks and I say more. And I have enough respect to Bingi Iri Lion and Queen Mama Yanzi, who was set precedent for I and others to follow. Yes, I love us.
Brother John, don't play that because I'm going to get a copyright strike, please.
Yes, I give thanks.
Yes, it's a new era. But give thanks, Mama Iffiya. We were honored by your presence. From keeping the eye has been nothing but a light to I and I.
Indeed.
The I's story is such an inspiration.
Very
the I father, one of the things I always admired about the I father was how he was able to keep his family, one of the few Asians that was able to keep his family intact, on the Nyabingi ground. And, I always told him that, that I look up to him for that because he have a young lion like myself who is family oriented, an example, And Ras I-Rice was the same, from I know Ras I-Rice one queen, don't see Ras I-Rice a womanizer or carrying on him a holy mother. You know what I mean? So it really was a joy to see these examples of elders with their queens. Mama Yanzi, quiet and humble but powerful as ever. So I really do give thanks for the eye, as my big sister in Rastafari. And always we've had a great reasoning, So big up yourself. We're going to now give the final sound to our greatest supporters, Mama Wolete. One of the reasons I know His Majesty love Washington, D.C. Rastafari communities because him send Mama Wolete.
Oh, that's so kind of the eye to say.
That's really for real.
Much.
When the eye come I say, His Majesty really great because it was timely,
Oh, well, all glory, all honor, and all glory to their divine majesties, Kadamawi Haile Selassie the First and Empress Wazera Menin Asfa. Give thanks for saying that, Dijas Match. That's so kind of the eye. But I want to remind I and I about the responsibility that I and I have been given by Haile Selassie the First. I may misquote, but I think ones are very familiar. His Majesty says it is the responsibility of the educated few, right, to care for or to help the unfortunate many. And I have a great charge before I and I with repatriation. Sister Janelle over in Ethiopia, and I sister from Miami. I remember the day that she trot out of Miami to Ethiopia or to this region and then onward to Ethiopia. And she said that when her generation arrived, when she arrived, there had been something like an 11-year or 14-year gap that had taken place with the generation prior to repatriation. Well, there's a resurgence with repatriation. There's a renaissance happening again. And I are living the word sound of the ancient Rastafari, repatriation now. And those of I and I that are serious about going must remember that we shall leave no families behind. We shall leave no one behind. If, for when I get my land, and I'm going to get my land, I'll be the neighbor of Ras Wolde and teach as much Kwasi, Brother Johnny. All of I and I will sojourn, we'll rally, and thereafter around Negus, the Rainbow Circle throne. But I call that if there's room to put an extra room, my house is going to have an extra room or maybe 2 extra rooms where a family can come and stay, because everyone can't block the word sound that they're going to buy land. It's so far-fetched with ones and ones just basically maintaining their liberty in the West to even consider an extra 12 or 10,000 or 8,000 or even 20 or 30,000 to purchase land and then to build a home. And I must return to the old landmark. And I call communal living. It's not forever. It won't be forever. It'll be a year, maybe 2 years, until that family is able to move on into their own space and the space builds up again with another family. It's the book, Selvon something or the other, The Lonely Londoners, where they talk about living in shifts. Somebody work during the day so that the night shift can rest. And when the night shift goes out, then the day shift sleeps. So you have a household of maybe 20, 25 ones, but only 12 there at a time. So I have to think about extra rooms on our properties to help one family. Maybe the king man is coming with a skill set or the sister is coming with a skill set. But in order to really build Africa in a meaningful way, and I must remember and must I call the responsibility of the educated few or the more fortunate few, even if it's a plot of land that can be rented out for farming, for agriculture. And I have to be mindful of those that will not be able to come. And, we don't want to leave anyone here, to look at the fall of Babylon. Peter Tosh told I, the day the dollar dies, and I see the fast approaching death of the dollar, and I read of the fall of Babylon, this great city that sits on these waters. And, as I stand on the shores of Africa and watch, look at the destruction in the West. It as much Kwasi sounds the loudest trumpet for the impending destruction. So repatriation has to be a real conversation. We have to think of ways to siphon money out of Babylon to fund it. How are we going to get the resources, whether it be liquidating properties that we hold? However it has to happen, it has to happen, because I can't stay no longer in a Babylon anymore. This world is not I own. So it has to be a daily conversation and a daily reminder. No more investments in Babylon unless it's a quick investment to turn around for a profit. You purchase something and you tell yourself 2 years, year and a half, I'm going to sell. I'm going to gain 50G from it. And I'm going to the continent. Africa waits, I. And this is what Ras I-Rice wanted. This is what all the ancients, when we think of the Mama Cherry and the Bongo Way guy and all those ones that went to South Africa, so many have gone on to that ancestral realm, Ras Rainbow. Ras Rainbow used to rally with I in Miami and, gone on to Africa. We have to be able to realize the vision of repatriation. We have to do it for our children, for our grandchildren, for our ancestors. We can't keep staying here, freezing in the winter, your skin drying out, your natty drying out. We have to go to the land, of the sun. We have to carve for ourselves a place in the sun.
Hmm.
You know, whether it be Ethiopia, the gates of Zion, or Kenya or Tanzania, just wherever. And I must firmly plant our 10 toes on African soil. All of these mighty works that we're doing in the West, they belong in the East. You know, that's where our children will reap the glory because this is done. You know, I've been sojourning, I don't know, what is that, 49 years in this region in the West. Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time to give Babylon. So we have the responsibility of reminding ones and ones about repatriation and helping others to make it possible. You know, I want to get the land, and I want to be able to tell someone you can come. You know, you can't live with me forever, probably, but you can live with me for a little while until you get yourself organized. Like
We're gonna create a vetting system. No hangers on or people who want
no, it has to be ones that
yes.
they're able to do it, but they're just not able to buy now, and the doors are closing.
Yes.
So come and then buy when you're there.
Exactly.
You know, and build. We want the plumbers and the masons, you know, we want the carpenters and the teachers and the linguists and the chefs. Yeah, and the attorneys and the rego singers. You know, we want all the rego singers. Come on. You know, it's a serious business. So please let I really focus. Did as much Kwasi and I and Brother John with Idor. You know, we've been working on the skills bank.
Yes.
And we have how many in the skills bank? About how many names are on the list?
Over 100.
Over 100 ones. And the different skills that they possess. And tying that into what can be done to generate resources on the continent. And looking at the roles that different ones will play, the construction of the homes, you know, the land. And, you know, if you get 2-3 acres, divide 1 acre into 8 plots and resell to 8 different ones. You've just helped 8 people reach the continent. Yeah. So, because ones don't have the info, they don't have the information on where to get the land, but they want to go. They don't know what kinds of jobs are there or what they can do for money, but they want to go. So the educated few, we have the responsibility of aiding the unfortunate many. We have a mighty task. We've been handed this task. I used to think, you know, ones will come and we'll do. And then I said, wait a minute, it's me? Yes, it's I. That's it.
To save us.
No one's coming. But I are responsible for helping to try to save. We don't want that big gap that fell in between the generations. You had the Bongo Kuru generation, and then you had the Ras I-Rice. And even Bingi I-Rice is younger than Ras I-Rice, a little.
Unmute.
What age was Congo I-Rice again?
86.
They're Bingi I-Rice was about 2 years younger or so.
Oh, just 2. Okay.
A few years younger.
Yeah. You look at these generations, you know, I call going to Ethiopia, and Mama Faya's uncle, Solomon Wolf, Papa Sala. And I put on the cell phone camera, and I said, Father Wolf, say something to the people. And he draw for his Ike School and Green banner crown. And him say, yeah, see me stand up in the Gideon. You see me in Ethiopia, me stand up. You know, like, yes, I got the call to come and I came. I'm here. I'm gonna reach forward for see me stand up in the thing. It's serious business. I have mighty work to do. A lot of work, and you know, the work is plenty and the workers are few. But I think that, you know, if I just give I's best effort, Yeah, I think that the Divine Majesties will be satisfied, you know. So I'm on the battlefield. I look to the left, look to the right. I see Brother John. I see the Jasmach Kwasi. I see Mama Iffiya. See Ras Lidj. Yeah, you look to the left and the right and you see your brother and your sister, you know. That just motivates I and I to keep going. So let's just do the work because I think it's I and I.
It is I and I.
Yeah, it's I and I. And Kwasi always says, if we're not diligent and we don't try our hardest, the thing drop a ground. Straight down a ground it gone.
I don't see anyone. I've been chatting over 20 years. I know Queen Iffiya. I've seen the same faces over the years. So it's illogical for us to wait on some sky god to come from the sky to carry I and I away. It is us. Same one. We have to get our act together, tighten up the ship, you know, fix the gaps and move, because they remember that Africa, 70% of Africa is under 30. So they are youths for I and I. So I and I going there is going to have a massive impact with the knowledge that we have and the experience and the opportunities we can create for the young people there who are thirsty for the knowledge. So our work has just begun. I give thanks that I will be there with Mama Wolete as my neighbor and Queen Iffiya as my neighbor and Ras Lidj. Brother John is already my neighbor. Bought our land together. In real life, myself and Brother John bought some prime land. But there's so much, and this network, I just want the people to know we're going to be traveling to Africa next year. I'll be filming, carrying the underground vibration, and this is why you have to support this channel, because this will be one of the repatriation stations where you can learn about what's happening. You know, we'll have opportunities for ones to connect with ones who are selling land, purchasing land. We'll be interviewing ones who have land. You know, we'll be going, and I don't just want to go to Ghana. We want to go to Ethiopia. We want to go to South Africa, Malawi, Tanzania, the Gambia, Senegal. There's going to be competition for the diaspora, may I tell you.
I just want to add
Go ahead.
the Jasmach Kwasi.
Yes.
It's really a joy, you know, because I'm listening to the eyes and I, and it reminded me how Bingi Iri and Mama Yanzi emphasized Ethiopia, because Bingi Iri was almost seemingly among our own place, like a fanatic when he come on to go into the repatriation mission, that he make sure say when he move out of West Kingston, him said no concrete house, you know, we're not building no concrete house, we're building board structure. That's when we're ready for repatriate. And I remember my mother have a component set, and the man said, "No man, we don't want this here, because we're not gonna bring that with us to repatriate." And then take my mother component set and give it away to these people, and this and that and all kind of. We've been through that, and the journey of the crocodile's bag, what we call the burlap today, with little Sam walking in it, and his family said, "No, but he must be mad now. We're gonna write him off." And so they wrote him off, and so we didn't get to know them. But I was able to travel into Ethiopia in 2000. It was 1993 at that time, and it was so amazing for me, because within myself and how I grew up in the environment within the Rastafari, and particularly the Nyabingis, the event that I and I tried to, and I don't know if there is them ever heard when Marshanti was going to Ethiopia in 1992 in the centenary. She tell everyone that she know that she's gonna grow back her teeth, because it's the land of the living and the proud. So that is the Irish, and that is why it's so important today to redefine the approach of the repatriation, what it looks like, the realities of it. I know I need to better prepare and myself. But when I was there, it was so amazing. I traveled from New York and into Rome, and when we reached, I said, "Rose and Scott, we really in a Rome? Then a Babylon gone this? How comes I am going to Ethiopia and I have to stop through that the place there, right?" But then again, their Majesty bless I and I with wise men, and I know say the reality is what it is, and the earth is the I am and the fullness thereof.
Fullness
And
thereof.
when I reached and I in the air and I saw the daytime and the nighttime, I was saying to myself, yes, it's really heaven I'm going to. And when I went there and the rain fell and you look at the earth and it glittered. And I took some of it forward, to take and put some, and I was giving it away with spoons and so on. And when I look at I purchased something and I look at the receipt and I saw it says 1990. I said, no, it can't be 1990. It seemed like they made a mistake. And I was reminded that it's 7 years.
Yes.
7 years apart. So it's a reality that came true for and I growing up in the community, in Rastafari in particular. And that Bingari and Mama Yanzi taught us Amharic. We used to do, if they check with Ras I-Rice, he would tell us that I and I were some of the children who every time them have the banquet and this and that, Bingari send us on stage with this play that he wrote in Amharic, and we're looking a job in Amharic and we're speaking the Amharic. And I'm like, I'm so tired of it. But but after you grow and you see a Bingi area and a Congo I-Rice and the locks, and you learn to appreciate it so much, appreciate love it. And today, you give thanks for that. But it's true, it's a reality, but it also needs a redefinition of a realistic approach to the repatriation concept, because a lot of the people were looking at it from a what do you call it? A supernatural perspective,
Yes.
and some of the oral communication that came down through Ionized Ancient has to be redefined, and at the same time recognize what they have brought to the table, that I and I were able or are able to bring it to the next level that it needs to go to. And we look at the speeches of Their Majesty, that leadership doesn't mean domination, but we need to galvanize that beautiful energy amongst I and I, that people would want to work with I and I without having any obligation to. And a lot of I and I don't possess a certain amount of humility, and so it's a push off energy. So those things, the capacity building, what it looks like in a realistic way, because that was one of the things that came out of the 22 pointers that came out of that in 1983 recommendation, and I can bring that into real time situation. So I just wanted to share that and it's not an illusion. The repatriation process, the right to return home, what it looks like, and in relation to the word repatriation, and as Mama will later speak about helping each one that has the vision to want to go home but does not know really and truly how to coordinate it within themselves and according to how some of it was brought to them. So we give thanks. Yes,
we're gonna connect with the North Carolina Rastafari Union.
Yeah,
Don't
to the wait the right eyes is there.
Yes, yes. And as I said, we want to we want to big up Ras Aziz and all the North Carolina Rastafari Union, Ras Sila, who is one of our nice ancient here that inspired and I from a different level and enough aspect for his training as well that he has brought to the table that has enabled I to be more stronger within I self, and it really brings a nice joy and Irish affinity among Ghanaians as well, even though sometimes it is approached from a militant, military perspective, but we give thanks also.
Give thanks.
Respect and love,
Family, we've gone over 3 hours, and
oh my goodness.
My family, I know these people have work at morning, so I give thanks for everyone who is watching live, everyone, the hundreds that will watch on the replay. We are very thankful. This was for Ras I-Rice. This is why first episode over 3 hours on the platform, and it's because of the love and the respect we have to do this for our elder. So stay tuned. Make sure that you like, you comment, you subscribe, you tell a friend, join us in the Patreon. We're trying to get this 100 by January 1st $5, $10, $25, whatever you can afford, family. Come and join us as we build Rastafari independent, non-aligned media. Why? Because the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is
the Lion's voice. Rastafari.
Aye. All to the east.
The time has come for the lion to tell his own story. Yeah, the one them called Celestial I represent for the mighty lion voice. And this a shook up your planet tectonic. As me sip up my roots and tectonic. And you can't make me jump nor get panic. Have the engine a run like mechanic. Room.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it. I Jollifer said that.
This is St. Davis. It's time for the lion to Ica. For unity is strength. Let us come together, my brethren and sisters, and forward to the motherland. Enough love. This is the lion's voice. Ja Rastafari.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.